You are about to enter the fantasy football show.
2023
Handcuffs.
Who do you handcuff to said starter walking into 2023? More importantly, what handcuffs are must-have players that can help you secure a championship? What players are must-have handcuffs you can step around the current owner of said starter and grab standalone Jerick McKinnon and win your league because you didn't allow your opponent to grab the handcuff? This handcuff conversation is more important than who you need to handcuff. This is also about who you want to
snipe.
How to grab some standalone talent. As I said, McKinnon, maybe Kendre Miller, Tank Bigsby, who could grab 10 touchdowns even with ETN having a phenomenal season. Zach Charbonnet, snipe him from the Kenneth Walker owner, and you might facilitate and force some sort of Kenneth Walker trade because he can't sleep at night because of what you did. Because of what we did. Best handcuff show you'll ever watch. Almost guaranteed the fantasy football show begins right now.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
Okay, so we're going to rank these in order of the most important handcuff in 2023. And I have to say that there are a bunch of great standalone players here. We might just have 3, 4, 5 guys that I recommend you draft no matter if you have the starter or not. And me loving these players as backups or handcuffs does not mean I don't like the starter. In an example, Deuce Vaughn. Just because I love Deuce Vaughn and I want to own him standalone doesn't mean I'm predicting injury or downfall or bust for Tony Pollard. It just means that this guy's exciting. And if he plays 3 or 4 games for you, he could literally walk you into weeks 14, 15, 16 if God forbid something happens. Knock on wood, Tony Pollard is going to the moon, but we've got a lot to talk about here. We got things like the Detroit Lions cuff. Is there even a cuff? No. The answer, I'll ruin it for you right now. There's no Detroit Lion cuff. These are 2 standalone players that have very good value in their own right, and Gibbs doesn't have a cuff, essentially. Now, we'll talk about that when the time comes, but there will be value increases for Monty or Gibbs if one or the other goes down, but there's no handcuff really to that situation, nor do I want to own Gibbs and Monty and start both of them. From a handcuff perspective, the number 1 overall handcuff in 2023, the most valuable player to cuff to said starter in 2023 is Zach Charbonnet. There's just no debate here. You got a guy in Kenneth Walker that I felt was a top 1 to 5 running back walking into 2023, and it's funny how fickle people are. Now all of a sudden Kenneth Walker is a 4th and 5th round pick, and there's a reason why Kenneth Walker is one of my top 4 overall players drafted in all of 2023 given cost of entry. These 4 videos are on their own row on my main YouTube channel homepage. Go there and check them out. These are the best 4 picks that'll help you win and dominate your league. So go watch the Kenneth Walker video. But back to Zach Charbonnet, who is head and shoulders above everybody else in terms of necessity in handcuffing. You got to get both of them. If you draft Kenneth Walker and you don't draft Zach Charbonnet, you're taking laps on the channel. I'm not having a debate here whether, Smitty, is it worth going this player, going that player? No, you have to reach. He's got about a 98 to 110 ADP. So if you're sitting there at 95 overall and you're trying to get cute, you're going to get burned if you try and wait 15 picks into the hundreds and try and snag the most important part of your entire team. Grabbing a guy that if shoved into the lineup in Seattle will be a top 5 to 10 running back. This guy, it was like getting kicked in the nuts on draft day because I love Walker. He's top 1 to 5. That doesn't change. Maybe the world changes around what we think, but everybody thinking this kid, Kenneth Walker, can't be a top 5 running back because this man landed in Seattle, they got another thing coming. Not only that, the Charbonnet and Walker cuff is more important and secure and safe and best cost of entry I've seen for an RB1 period this entire offseason, that it actually is not a hindrance to have Charbonnet there for Kenneth Walker. It gives you a sense of security. I'd rather have Walker at 4 or 5 round value with Charbonnet than go back in time and have Kenneth Walker at number 14 overall without the security of Charbonnet. Charbonnet's that good. I felt like I got
kicked in the nuts
on draft day because this guy standalone, Zach Charbonnet, could arguably be a top 10 running back in his own right in a starting situation. So to be told, okay, one of your children, Walker and Charbonnet, they can't both survive and thrive at the NFL level. That was a kick to the gut, a punch to the gut. And so for that reason, like it was hard to digest. But at the same time, it only takes Charbonnet off the board from being a lock of being an amazing player right out of the gate. And you need an injury or an abduction by aliens and return Walker safely, please, for Charbonnet to become very valuable. But he is your safety net. You must own the two of them. If you draft him standalone, you don't get Walker, you can facilitate a trade potentially, because you owning Charbonnet is going to drive the Walker owner so crazy that he might just say, you know what, I'll just make a trade with you. Here's Kenneth Walker. What can you get me? Sometimes drafting this man can facilitate the acquisition of Kenneth Walker, who you might have missed out on grabbing. So just keep all that in mind. He's one of the most powerful players to draft and hold, just in standalone value and in initiating that trade conversation. The number 2 handcuff in fantasy football. I'm looking at this list right here. There's so many good candidates. I mean, some would say Dalvin Cook is not the cuff Smitty. He's the starter. Breece Hall's the handcuff, whatever. Get out of here with that. The problem is he's got standalone value. He's not necessarily a cuff. He's going to go really high. So I almost have to take Dalvin Cook off this board and just eliminate the conversation, because you can't really cuff him. He's not really cuff material. He's kind of like a circa Browns in the past, where you had Chubb and Kareem Hunt and they weren't cuffable. They were both drafted really high and you couldn't really cuff the two. If you could cuff Dalvin Cook to Breece Hall, I would do it. I think it would be a good pick, but he's just going so high standalone. So I'm going to take him off the board because he doesn't feel like a handcuff. Same thing with the Lions, because like I said, you know, I'm not drafting both Lions players. It doesn't feel like good value to skip out on a wide receiver or somebody that's falling like Pickens, George Pickens, or Dotson to go chase a running back like Monty when I've already got Gibbs and there's no real handcuff advantage. There's only missing out on a Pickens or Dotson or a player that I really, really want. So I'm going to go ahead and say there's no cuff really here. I'm not saying Monty doesn't have 1,200 yards, 7 touchdown value. Gibbs and Monty have nothing to do with each other. They're in different roles. And Monty, look, if the Lions run the ball 450 times, you want Gibbs getting under 200 carries anyway. There's so many carries to go around. Monty and Gibbs can coexist without touching each other's workload. It's the dumbest argument in the world when people say Monty's going to dig into Jahmyr Gibbs. Are you even watching football? This is nothing. They have nothing to do with each other. And that's why Gibbs is one of those 4 best picks in fantasy football 2023. Again, go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, and on its own row will be these 4 videos. So go check that out. So I'm going to take Lions off because there's no real cuffing situation. Same thing in Philly. I mean, you could look at Penny as a cuff, or you could look at Swift as a cuff. You could look at Kenny Gainwell as a cuff. They all kind of have their own independent value. And I don't know that Swift relates to any of those, because he's going to be used as a wide receiver and running back, and he's just kind of all over the place in the offense. So I kind of don't feel like there's a cuffing situation here. I'm going to remove all those situations from the board. I'm even going to take the Commanders off because that's a big blender of whatever. I don't even know who's going to be the starter, who's the backup. No one really knows. We can only make guesses. I'm going to take all those teams off the board from a team perspective. And I'm going to say the number 1 handcuff, and he has standalone value as well, but because he goes so late, you can cuff him, is Jerick McKinnon. He could single-handedly win leagues. This guy had, I believe, the number 1 overall running back performance in multiple weeks in 2022. In the preseason, he looked really good in his short appearance. They're going to throw the football to him. He's the reverse of a Deebo Samuel, more wide receiver than running back. He can coexist with Pacheco. The only difference between like McKinnon and Pacheco and having, let's say, a Monty and Gibbs is ADP. And the cost of entry is double-digit rounds. You can get him as a cuff. He can start on your team with Pacheco, and you can feel really good about the volume that's getting dished out to both of them. In fact, I have him in a flex, McKinnon, in the Marsman League, and I'm starting Isaiah Pacheco, and I think it's great. It's a potent offense. This is one of those weird situations where they really are kind of in one sense unrelated. However, if Pacheco did go down, his workload would go up in the running game, but he'd also still be overutilized in the passing game. And so he does have cuff value, and he does have probably some of the best standalone value out of all the must-have handcuffs on this board. And next up, I mean, this is getting crazy because there's so many ways to argue handcuff value and what you should do. Like CMC goes down, Mitchell is going to be great, but he always gets hurt, so you got to factor that in. Kendre Miller could get a lot of work starting the year and then Kamara comes back after a suspension in week 4. And so it's like, that's the reverse of like, oh, he has value now. Will he have value later? Tyler Algier, you could say, has some standalone value as like a bye week filler or injury replacement because the Falcons ran the ball 560 times last year. So if anybody thinks that Bijan and this guy Tyler Algier can't coexist, take a look at the numbers. 559 rushing attempts, first in the National Football League, third in yardage. That's without Bijan's, probably 5.5 yards per carry, which will rank first. I fully expect the Falcons to be either number 1 or number 2 in rushing attempts this year, number 1 or number 2 in rushing yards this year, and number 1 or number 2 in both TDs and yards per carry. This is the best rushing offense in the National Football League. And for people that don't understand that, and they say things like, the Niners are the best rushing attack, you take Bijan over CMC, given the offense that CMC's in. I don't think you've looked at the numbers. The Falcons are the number 1 between the tackle rushing team in the National Football League, coming off of last year without Bijan Robinson. What do you think they're going to do this year? And if you run the ball 560 times, you don't want Bijan getting even half of those. That means Algier's going to eat, and it has nothing to do with Bijan's workload. So get out of here with that. So Tyler Algier has got tremendous value. I'm going to put him here. I don't think he's next, but he definitely needs to be like talked about in this conversation of who's the third best overall handcuff in fantasy football. But you look at this, and I say this guy right here, Tank Bigsby, can coexist without an injury. I don't know if you see the theme here. Charbonnet has a little standalone value, but he's more so the most explosive. The guy we had is like a top 10 running back if he got drafted into a starter situation. So he's kind of got this like crazy value that does kind of overpower the ability to use these other two guys in week 1, in week 2, right away as a flex option. Charbonnet's number 1. And because if you invest in Kenneth Walker, you're getting an RB1. It's just such an important cuff. It's really in its own tier. Charbonnet and Walker as the top handcuff in fantasy football. These two right here are some of the best standalone go snipe your league mate and grab these guys and use them as flex plays handcuffs out there. Tank Bigsby could get 10 touchdowns on the ground and not really affect ETN. I know it's going to feel like it affects ETN. We want ETN to get 10 touchdowns on the ground. ETN's survival with Bigsby doing well will be, is he getting receptions? Because if ETN is getting 50 plus receptions in 2023, mixed with the amount of running that they will give this guy, he's ultra efficient. He'll probably score 8 to 10 touchdowns on his own, breaking big plays, catching some touchdowns. ETN is risky because of Bigsby, but he is one of the most important handcuffs to ETN. I would say that these 3 guys right here, and let's talk about their starters, Kenneth Walker, Pacheco, and ETN. These are the most important handcuffs. I think Algier's up there too in terms of most important handcuffs, not standalone value, snipe away from the league mate that drafted the starter, but in terms of if you own one of these starters, Bijan, ETN, Pacheco, and Kenneth Walker, these are must-have handcuffs. Algier's the least must-have, but he's still up there because it secures you a running back spot if the starter goes down, knock on wood. It's great security. You sleep like a baby at night because you've got this thing locked down. But the 2 players, if I had to say, had the best standalone value that could help you in your flex spot right away is Tank Bigsby and Jerick McKinnon, and it's not even close. These guys I would plug into my flex spot and build heavy at my other positions without a hesitation. Tank Bigsby is a great grab. Tyler Algier, for reasons I've already explained, is definitely, I think, next up on the list. I think Deuce Vaughn is a vital cuff to Tony Pollard, and if you think this kid can't handle the workload, maybe he can't for a long period of time. No one's expecting him to eventually become an every down back in the National Football League, but for 3 or 4 games for weeks 14, 15, 16, let's say Tony Pollard was safely abducted by aliens, he gets brought back, he's healthy, he's fine. 3 games, Deuce Vaughn is exciting. And not to mention, he could be plug and play, injury or flex type of situation where you're like, I'll put Deuce in there, maybe I get a 40-yard touchdown run because he's explosive and dynamic and they want to get him involved. And there's enough work to give him 8 to 10 carries a game and not hurt Tony Pollard, who they're going to throw the ball to a ton. They'll be on the field at the same time. This is exciting. This is probably the 4th option for me. The rest of these guys, I mean, it's really debatable. I mean, Jaylen Warren, you could talk about being next. Zeke Elliott, you got to cuff him probably to Ramondre because Bill loves him and he does score touchdowns. AJ Dillon's always going to be in the conversation. You probably put him, I imagine, next just because of the touchdown production. He's got some standalone value, but Jaylen Warren's right there. Zeke Elliott's on the board, like I said, as a potential next up handcuff. Elijah Mitchell might be vital, but his injury concern, his ability to even stay healthy if they use him, puts him like lower than you want him. You'd say talent-wise, maybe he should be 4 or 5. And you could argue and move these around if anybody's got a problem with the order. I mean, you get the entire backup crew in San Francisco, so you go get TDP or you go get Mason or whoever and cuff to Eli Mitchell, and then you're kind of set. So you could do it this way. I wouldn't have a problem with this ranking. The rest of these guys, I mean, Zamir White, he's very, very talented. You could easily put him anywhere in this territory here, but I do believe that, and we've heard Jacobs will be there for week 1, but if he gets hurt because he's been technically holding out, holdouts lead to injury, and if you're sitting out. And so Zamir White might be starting some games this year based on the close to 400 touches that Jacobs endured in 2022, which alone makes you a huge injury risk. And then you got Zamir White coming in and doing some good things. So we'll put him here. P. Ryan had a lot of buzz until Javonte looked healthy. This next group is like, I mean, you could really organize this in 100 different ways. Roshan's a really attractive cuff and backup. Kelly, could he be used a ton? I don't know how much I like him, but Kellen Moore does use multiple running backs. The Dolphins, I forgot to take this off the board. I don't know that there's a cuff there because you don't know who the hell the starter is, and you don't know if maybe they trade for JT. JT could jostle this around all over the place, so I'm going to take them off the board because, frankly, I'm drafting A-Chain if I got to draft anybody. Spears looks pretty good. Spears is, look, he has 1 ACL. I've been very critical of him staying healthy because he's got 1 ACL, but he continues to look good, and frankly, you got to put him around this territory. And I'm not really ranking Dylan Warren, Zamir White, and Elliott, and P. Ryan, and Spears, and Mitchell. They're kind of all right here. I could literally resort them just by arguing with myself, and I don't think we need to do that. These guys are all kind of shots in the dark. Maybe Kendre Miller gets moved over here. Maybe Roshan gets moved over here, and these guys are a little bit more of a crapshoot. This is my ranking. It's Charbonnet by a mile. It's McKinnon and Bigsby next up by a mile. And Algier hanging on to that tier. Deuce Vaughn hanging on to that tier. And then Mitchell trying to hang on, but because of the injury risk, we can't really put him up there. But Charbonnet, if you draft Kenneth Walker and you don't draft Charbonnet, you should be ashamed of yourself. Your mother's even ashamed of you right now. I'm ashamed of you. But if you draft Charbonnet with Kenneth Walker, I am proud of you.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Now, keep all this in mind when you draft, or if you've already drafted and you're trying to trade, and keep this in mind in terms of standalone value if you miss out on Kenneth Walker. And again, how important it is to grab one of these cuffs if you want to maybe facilitate a trade with the ETN owner and you want ETN, with the Pacheco owner and you want Pacheco, with the Kenneth Walker owner and you want Kenneth Walker, because you want Kenneth Walker. Okay. Now time for the 8 p.m. show. I appreciate you all watching this little intro. It's time for the live segment right on the other side of the intro. Let's get to it. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
What is going on, everybody? Pete Carroll with an update. This is all live right now. You guys watched a nice little intro. 252 of you in the building. Punch that thumb up button on your way in the door. A lot of people weren't reading. I kept putting it on screen. I'm going to go live on camera after the intro. This is a nice little handcuff intro for you all. And now we're back talking about JSN. We're talking about all these players that are in the news right now. But we're going to be talking about JSN hardcore for the next 5-10 minutes. And the phone lines will be open. And there's a few of you that already want to call in. I forget who was going at me about the Breece Hall roasting that I gave them. You got Breece Hall at 80. Who is that? Craig or whatever his name was? Craig, you did great. Me roasting you about not taking Breece Hall until pick 80 was me saying great job, but you did wait too long. And you saying, Smitty, you took Calvin Ridley in the second round. He's got a second round ADP on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. If you want to draft tonight, hit that promo code on Underdog. The best way is to just click this link. I'll pin the link in a second, but that link will get the promo code inserted, get you up to $100 bonus match. But if you want to draft tonight, you better hit that link in the live chat so you don't have to scramble to get in. JSN, this report from Pete Carroll, surgery update. It looks like, and if you don't know, if you've been living in under a rock all day, I went live on this. JSN, broken bone in his wrist. He had wrist surgery today. His week 1 availability was in jeopardy, but hopeful before the surgery. But Pete Carroll with the timeline on surgery for rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba, sounds like week 1 is a long shot. Pete Carroll said that he had a slight fracture and they want to make sure they do things right, 3 to 4 week issue, and they're staying optimistic about his timetable. But here's the bottom line, and then I got some super chats I got to get to. I've got a $20 hauler. I got my boy Red in here who dropped a 20 watt on screen. Red, I want to help you, and you can even call in and we can get some more, more detailed advice your way if you want to dial into the show in a minute. But here's the bottom line. JSN's week 1 availability is in question, but JSN is a league winner. There's a reason he's not on the Moon Man list right here.
The Moon Man, dropping loads in outer space.
You won't find JSN on this list because we were a little bit apprehensive
Space Moon says
about putting him with the likes of Pickens, Dotson, London, Watson, Olave, Garrett Wilson. Might I remind you, these all look like amazing like locks, like where someone might come in if they're new to the channel and say, Smitty, these are all obvious. They weren't obvious. We had people that would come in and say on the live stream, Smitty, the Moon Men list looks like a bunch of backups. Sophomore wide receivers. It looks like gold right now. It looks like a landmine of glory. Everywhere you step, you get a explosion of glory right at your footstep, right? Sitting right in front of your doorstep, right there waiting for you to explode and dominate your league. This is the most amazing Moon Men list I think anybody could come up with. And when I say anybody, there are everybody and their mother stealing our Moon Men to the moon, to Mars, rocket ship. I'm getting DM after DM and a little tired of all the channels copying everything we do because they can't think for themselves. And here we are, talking about this the entire offseason. We created the Moon Men. We created Mars Men. And everybody's stealing it away. It's obvious. It's obvious. You're doing obvious copycat Caleb stuff out there, fantasy channels. This is the only show you need. And I'm sorry to be blunt about that, but there are a lot of copycats out there, and it gets a little annoying. Your boy Smitty has been talking up this guy JSN from a mid-season monster perspective. You didn't see him on the Mars Men list. You didn't see him on the Moon Men list because there is a progression here. And so ultimately, I'm not concerned about week 1. Nobody expected him to be a world star in week number 1. It was maybe a nice thought. Maybe he could be great out the gate in week number 1. Maybe weeks 1 through 4, he's a monster and it's a nice little surprise. But we all expected him to be brought along slowly anyway. So why are we freaking out if he misses week 1? Surgery's never good. I'm not out here trying to say this is a good thing necessarily, but it's one of those blessings in disguise. One of those you dress it up as if it's concern, knee-jerk reactions everywhere, knee-jerk Rodgers out there just reacting, just out there doing reactive things. Oh my God, what do I do now? I'm going to trade away JSN. You can get this guy on the cheap right now from an overreacting Roger that is literally sitting there with his knee just jerking away. Okay, this man, Roger, is a knee-jerking reaction Roger. And he's out there just ready to be vulnerable for you. You could go in and say, Roger, I'll take JSN off your hands. Can I get some like knee or leg emojis right now for the knee jerk reacting Roger, please? And this is probably the best thing you could have possibly walked into if you're drafting tomorrow, tonight, the next day, because this guy's dropping multiple rounds. Not one round now, at least a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds. If you can get JSN right next to Dotson, right next to George Pickens in round 6, 7, or 8, instead of having to take him in 5 or 6 where JSN was climbing to, you are in a position to win your league. Understand what I'm saying. Look into my eyes. If you didn't take in anything you just saw in that amazing handcuff intro that I almost guarantee you, because I can't fully guarantee you, was the best handcuff video on YouTube, period. Take this in. Absorb this, what I'm about to tell you. This guy can be a league-winning wide receiver 3. This guy can win you a championship when you get into the thick of it in week 8 on. This guy can absolutely win you a league. 100%. 100% league-winning material. Stefan, the phone lines aren't open yet, so dial back in a minute. I'm in the middle of a rant, Stefan. No one can handle your question right now about your team. We're talking JSN. Hold on. Let's see what Stefan needs. Stefan, is this an emergency? Are you okay? Stefan, are you okay? Is this an emergency?
No.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Stefan, hold on. Go on mute if you don't mind. Go on mute. Okay. I'll handle your question next. But I'm in the middle of a rant, Stefan. I'm in the middle of a rant. Okay. Hold on.
All right.
Go on mute.
Keep it going.
You're okay. Mute yourself. No mouth breathing. All right. JSN wins you a league in 2023. And if anybody thinks this changes the game for him, that his ultimate stat line at the end of the day is even different, is probably delusional and scared. They're a scared Scott. No offense, scared Scott. But this is one of the best return on investment, entry point opportunities that you could stare in the face walking into your draft tonight, tomorrow, the next day. If you already drafted JSN, it sucks. Okay, it sucks. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Oh, JSN, we loved him. I told you he was a midseason monster. He's a midseason monster for a reason. These are your midseason monsters. I'm not saying they can't thrive out the gate in week number 1. I am especially not saying that Breece Hall can't be a monster because he's practicing and Dalvin hasn't been. Dalvin's shoulder has kept him out of practice. Breece Hall's out there in 11-on-11 drills running between the tackles like a monster, getting ready, and everybody's doubting this man. No one's saying Breece can't rock out in week number 1. No one's saying that Herbert isn't full go as the anointed starter. No one's saying Zay Flowers can't be a wide receiver 3 magician in week 1, but these are midseason monsters. What midseason monster means from the definition, if you look it up in the dictionary, it shows a picture of my face when you look up midseason monsters, and I'm sitting there staring at you going, he's a moon man by midseason, Bill. He's a moon man by midseason, Bob. These guys, these midseason monsters, which we're going to add to as we walk into the final, coming weeks. These midseason monsters will be playing like moon men, not just at midseason on maybe week 2, week 1, week 3, week 4, but by midseason, they'll all be on their horse. JSN was that guy. Why is everybody freaking out? It's glorious that everybody's freaking out. Go get him. If you've already drafted, it is what it is. Stop crying. Stop holding yourself and crying in the corner and just like whining about it. Just move forward. Dodge. Okay? Dodge. Bob and weave. Adjust and adapt. We are an adjust and adapt community. We are not a community that looks to the past. We are a community that looks to the future. And there's so many opportunities on Underdog Fantasy if, let's say, you drafted in your 1 or 2 leagues already and you took JSN early, or you didn't get JSN, or your league doesn't trade at all and your guys are just a bunch of dormant Donnies that don't ever trade. You can go to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty tonight. We're drafting tonight. Hit that link. I just dropped it again in the live chat. Hit the link, use code Smitty. The link inserts code Smitty for you. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. You can go out there and draft JSN tonight. You can go out there. You can draft JSN right now while I'm live. Just click the link, download the app, get the double deposit up to $100 and draft. And draft right now, here and now. Make draft day every day. When the missus is sleeping and she thinks she got you in a box, you can only draft in 2 leagues this year. Bob, I'm controlling the finances this year. Bob, you're not going to get in a draft. Slip in a little 20, 30, 10, minimum's $10 on Underdog Fantasy. They'll double up to $100 on your first deposit. Slip a little 10, 20 action in there. They double it. You can get in these $5 puppies. Get in 4 or 5 of them. And while the missus is sleeping, stare at her and say, I'm drafting right now while you're sleeping. I got 4 more leagues ongoing, Miss Bob. You can make draft day any day. Every day's draft day. Every hour's draft hour if you want it to be. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. And this goes for the ladies too. If let's say you're the fantasy football player and your Mr. Bob doesn't like playing, you can stare at him and say, while he's sleeping, I'm drafting 4 teams right now. This isn't exclusive to any one type of person or a male or female or a Bob or Susan. This is for everybody. Everybody's equal here on the channel. Everybody's loved on the channel. And we are here for everybody. Okay, I say pal a lot, buddy, all that, but this is look, the community's growing, the types of different diversity that we got going on here on the fantasy football level is amazing, and I'm so excited that we've got every walk of life coming into this fantasy football circle. We've got different regions. We got a lot of Canada people. It's amazing. We're worldwide. This is like prestige worldwide. Okay, at this point. All right, let's get right into it. JSN, buy low, go get him, draft low, trade low, and Steven, you're live, and you just hung up right at the moment of your time to shine, Steven. You had your time, and you just hung up. You couldn't wait, Steven. You couldn't wait. Dial in if you want to talk again, Steven. Let's hit these super chats real quick. We got a couple wads on screen. This one from Red. Red doing it live. Red, absolutely phenomenal job.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Super chat wad dropped on screen. Red. Hey Smitty, I told you my team earlier. Can you help me with a trade? I don't really know what the team is. Let me go ahead and search real quickly for Red and see if he reposted his team. Red assumed that I knew his team. I posted my trade earlier on another live stream. Red, I would never remember what your team is, let alone, what your favorite color is or anything like that. Like, that stuff goes in one ear and out the other. So, Red, I am waiting. I've searched for your name. I can't see another update anywhere. I just have this one post from you. So if you could please give me your team, I'm going to put your super chat in the corner, and I'm going to handle that as soon as you come back and tell me your squad, because you're giving me an awful lot of credit, assuming I remember what's going on there. Davis dropping a super chat. You got Smitty, you got Hurts, trade Fields, Watson, Pacheco, McKinnon for Devontae Smith and Breece Hall. Absolutely no way I'm doing that. That is way too much. If not just because you're handing that team way more value than you should be just because you have depth. Like Watson and Devontae Smith, even though, most people would rather have Devontae Smith. He was a top 10 wide receiver last year. Christian Watson still potentially could get there, but he's more of an enigma and a mystery. You can't do that. You got to take Watson and Watson and Devontae Smith kind of out of the equation and say you're giving both KC running backs and Fields for Breece Hall, who's going around 4-5. You are literally handing that man potentially a team that's going to annihilate you. So absolutely no, that is a very, very bad trade, and you need to hold out and let Fields ball out. Remember this is a very, very good piece of advice that everybody needs to hold on to and put into their arsenal of strategy and thought process walking into week 1, week 2, week 3. Not every trade has to happen before week 1 kicks off. I know everybody wants to have their ducks in a row and just get it all out of the way, but you can wait until weeks 1, 2, 3 occur. Injuries are going to strike quarterbacks. Injuries are going to strike everybody. People are going to bust left and right. And so you literally have to make sure you're patient, Davis, and don't go ahead and make a stupid move when you've got all the value and the cards are on your side. You have the better hand. Don't show your hand or give pieces of your hand away just to get out of the game, bro. Don't cash out. Wait, Davis, wait. And you drop the first super chat of the day, so you get a standing ovation. Okay, now I'm going to pause on the super chats. I got Nathan's super chat upcoming. I've got Michael's super chat upcoming. He dropped a $10 hauler. Let me put these super chats in the corner so that I don't forget them. And then I've got Red on the phone, and then I got Russian Collusion. So Russian Collusion, do you mind if, since you're a Mars man, you do get the first take here. Do you mind if I help Red real quick? Because he just dropped a $20. Okay.
Take care of Ryan. You know me.
Yeah,
You
I know.
me. I'm good. Take
That's
care of
why.
Ryan.
That's why I even ask, because I know you and you're a giving man. So let me go to Red real quick. Stefan, you hung up, so you're third in line right now. You were first in line, but you're helped in the order in which you received, and you hung up, Stefan. You left. But I still appreciate you. You are my boy, Stefan. Hang tight. Red, you dropped a super chat here. You gave me a little too much credit and said, "Hey, Smitty, I told you on another live stream what my team was. What players should I trade for?" Like, Red, I have no idea what your team looks like. Go ahead and hit me with your team real quick.
All right, brother. It's Lamar Jackson, Gibbs, Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Travis Kelce, Christian Watson, and the Steelers defense, and then Justin Tucker.
Can you run that by me one more time? Lamar, Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Kelce. Who am I missing?
Javonte Williams.
Okay.
Chris Olave. Travis Kelce.
CeeDee.
Christian Watson.
Oh, good.
Steelers defense.
Okay.
Justin Tucker.
Okay.
And then my bench is I got Geno, Pittman Jr., Rashad Penny.
Okay.
Antonio Gibson, excuse me. Okay. Alan Lazard.
Okay, we kind of a weak
Tennessee tight end. So
kind of a weak bench. I like Okonkwo. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the question? You want to know what to trade?
Well, what they actually do to kind of like improve my bench a little bit. Like I know that my core lineup, the worst I have is Javonte Williams, but with him coming back, he could be like a top 8 running back. But the guy I'm playing against the week 1, he's got. I pull this thing up.
Don't worry about week 1. That's to make any trades or assumptions based on who your matchup is week 1. Who cares about that? Let's talk about the general state of the team, and just say that.
Well, he offered me he offered me Elliott for Lazard.
Zeke Elliott for your Lazard.
Yeah, Zeke. Yeah.
That could go either way. I mean, Zeke's kind of a potential touchdown getter, and Lazard's a potential kind of underrated yet. I mean, who knows what he does. I think Aaron Rodgers does lean on him a little more than people expect. If he can stay healthy, Lazard, he might be kind of crafty, but I don't necessarily think that is a bad trade either way. The problem is, I guess you got some depth in Pittman and obviously Okonkwo. I don't trust Penny. So really you do need an RB. So it's not crazy, but Pittman is hard to trust as well. You're not really deep. Here's what I'd say. Looking at your team, you don't want to sell Gibbs. You're keeping him no matter what. You don't want to sell Olave. His value is kind of all over the place. You don't want to sell Watson. He's kind of low. Javonte, you're not going to get enough. The only potential pieces to move, because you have Okonkwo, you could consider trading Kelce if you could literally get a king's ransom. Otherwise, you don't trade him. Like, if anybody's about to type, don't trade Kelce, you always should be open-minded about trading anybody if their value is sky high. You listen to people, and then you slam the door right on their face if it's not a king's ransom. CeeDee Lamb is a player that I think is a real nice player to trade right now because he's got top 10 to 14 overall value, and there are guys like Ridley that are in the late second, in a lot of cases the third round. I took Ridley in the late second round in the Marsman League, and people had a huge problem with it. It was crazy. Can't believe you did that. He has a 2.11 or 2.12 ADP on Underdog Fantasy, so it depends where you draft. Ridley is a fantastic late second to early third round pick. I don't care what anybody says. They can tell me it's a reach. I really don't care. Wait until week number 1's over. Then come to me and tell me that you think I reached on Ridley when it's Snipe City and he is the guy you need to take, or you'll be without a wide receiver 1. My advice is to go poke around at that idea and see what you can get upgrade-wise. It's not that I think you need to really replace anybody in your lineup, but I think if you were to get like Ridley and let's say you get Breece Hall and you throw Pittman into that, like something crazy like that, where someone thinks they're upgrading Ridley into CeeDee Lamb at such a crazy degree that they're willing to trade you an injured an injured Breece Hall in their mind for Michael Pittman. Like, that might not work. I'm just saying those are the kind of things that I'm taking big swings at, whether they work out or not. If they work out, great. If they don't, great. I don't care. I'm not going to make a trade that's even Steven. I want to make a trade that I believe helps my team. Even if it's an even type of trade for both parties, it helps you more than it helps anybody else. That's the only reason you do a trade. Lamar Jackson for a T. Law downgrade could get you something, some kind of wiggle room somewhere. I'd only trade Kelsey, like I said, if you could somehow swing big. Your lineup's fantastic. I don't mind the lineup at all. Would I upgrade Javonte if, let's say, a Michael Pittman allowed you to get into a Kenneth Walker? I probably would, but I still love Javonte. I still think Javonte can be a top 10 running back. So it's a great team. Nothing needs to be done. Pittman for straight up for an RB like, I don't know, Pacheco would be a nice move if you can get Pacheco for Pittman. I think you'll have a much easier time filling in wide receivers than you will RBs in this particular league. So, that's where I go with this.
The guy I'm playing week one, he's kind of an idiot. And I've already kind of talked him into doing a somewhat trade. He's thinking about it right now. But he wants Lamar Jackson instead of having Patrick Mahomes, which I think is idiotic. But he offered me, he said for CD Lamb and for Lamar Jackson to give me Stephon Diggs and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Got him. Right. Hold on. My biggest problem, Smitty, with this whole lineup, and I've never been a Lamar fan. He's had one good year in his career, I think it is. And so I think that's his biggest problem. So when he said that, run with it.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, Red, I really appreciate you. I'm a coach. I'm supposed to yell at you. I'm supposed to tell you high knees. I'm supposed to tell you to do push-ups when you need to do push-ups. So don't take this the wrong way. I can't thank you enough for your support. But you need to take a damn lap for even like hesitating on that, for like wasting my time and all of our time when you could have said, hey, Smitty, let me tell you my team. It's Mahomes, Diggs, Gibbs, Javonte. Like, what in the hell are we doing here? We just wasted like 7, 8, 10 minutes on a team you shouldn't even have because you're hitting the button.
It's not me.
I know, but hit the button, then come back and let's talk about your new team. Like, what are we doing here, Red? What are we doing here? Take a lap immediately. Like, what's going on? You're wasting all of our time.
Still a rookie. All right, bro. I'm sorry. I appreciate
it. Red, don't apologize. Red.
This is great conversation, Red. But then the nice thing is, then you have the availability to turn like an Okonkwo and maybe a Pittman or somebody like that into like a Walker or somebody that's later drafted, that you could actually turn something into a freaking team that nobody's going to beat. So just look at it that way. When somebody offers you something like that, they're crazy. Like you said, I think you said he was an idiot.
Hey, Red, you got a veto process in your league?
I'm the what's it called? The commissioner.
Is that a corrupt way of saying no? Like only when you deem it necessary?
No.
let me say this, Red. Let me just end it here. You can stay on mute. Just mute yourself after I say this. And if you got another question, reload and just come in. You don't have to hang up right now. But right here's your team. You read this team off to me. Mahomes, Kelsey, Gibbs, Javonte, Olave, Diggs. I'm literally telling you to walk straight to the bank. Not that you couldn't have maybe walked there in anticipation with your other team, but this team is absolute straight fire. It makes me not want to do any other moves. It's not that I don't question Diggs in some way or some capacity, but every question you have about Diggs, and I'm talking about like, who do you take, Garrett Wilson or Diggs or St. Brown or Diggs, that kind of questioning. Not is he a top 12 to 14 turn, type of player. You have those same questions about CeeDee Lamb. The offense is going to go more run heavy. So just go do this trade, get this done, and then come back and tell me it's official so we can move on and look at your team. But I don't think I'd tell you to do anything at that point anyway. All right, Red, hang tight.
Oh, hi, Bo.
Red, amazing job. Take your lap with a smile. You know what I mean? Like, don't take it in a negative way. Pat yourself on the back while you're running around the track because you just smashed, bro. You just smashed this guy to pieces. In fact, Red.
Absolutely.
In fact, Red, where are you calling from?
Georgia.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get on the veto with the veto police. 1 second. Yeah, there's a guy named Red, and he committed a fantasy football robbery He's calling from Georgia, you said? Red? Georgia? Georgia.
Georgia, yes, sir.
I can hold him for 5-10 minutes. At that point, I can't guarantee he'll be here anymore. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Red, hang tight. Don't go anywhere, Red. Veto police are on their way.
Got him.
Okay, let's go over to Marsman Rock Out, and then we got Jonathan, or then we got Steph, and then we got Jonathan. Marsman, Red left. Red's like, I'm going to make that trade. I'll be back. Red, call in once it's complete, please. Collusion, what can I do for you? You're live. Unbelievable.
All right, I thought you said Rock Out, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
So,
Collusion.
So that's all right, Smitty. So I got into a bulldog tonight. Of course, you know what a bulldog is.
I know.
$500 buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
And I started out freaking great. I had the 6th pick Bijan, Olave. I picked DJ Moore because I thought Fields would come back to me. Fields didn't come back to me at the 5th pick. Or, yeah, 6th pick, I'm sorry. So I took Brees Hall at the 6th pick, or the 4th round. Then I picked Burrow because I wanted to get an elite quarterback.
You got Burrow in 5?
I got Burrow in 5, yeah.
Jeez. I will say DJ Moore feels a little bit early in the 3rd round. I'm not gonna lie, but like
but I was trying to tie him with Fields, so that's the only reason why. I did it. Otherwise, I would have went somewhere else. The other options were Jacobs, Cooper. I don't like Keenan Allen. I like Debo, but not that much. So I said, you know what? Let me take a chance on getting to tie up with DJ and Fields. Fields didn't come back. So I ended up getting Brees Hall in the 4th, Burrow in the 5th, Dotson in the 6th.
Nice.
Kamari in the 7th.
Kamari or Kamara?
Kamara,
Okay.
sorry. And Pacheco in the 8th.
Kamari, okay.
And then, of course, my phone went wacky, and I auto-drafted Tua, which I couldn't stand because
Damn it!
I didn't want that low. Yeah, Tua was my 2nd quarterback.
Okay.
So I got Dotson.
Look, you did good, Collusion. I'm not going to lie. I would have went a different route than DJ Moore in round 3. I love DJ Moore. I love him. I love Fields and DJ Moore. But another reason why I think people force the cuffing, like you're taking him early so you can cuff him to a guy that you may not even get in Fields. So, like, was Ridley there? Was Gibbs there? You throw Ridley or Gibbs into this mix, and then I start really loving it. And then you've got only one risk in Brees Hall in 4, which I think is a fun risk to play. But a little bit of a reachy poo on DJ Moore with a Brees Hall risk puts back-to-back kind of, like, reaches in play there.
You know where Gibbs went?
Where?
He went in the first pick in the 2nd round.
Okay, wow. You must have had a The Fantasy Football Show member in that draft, pal.
Yeah.
Hey, Collusion, hang tight. Let me get on over to the. What'd you say? Go ahead. Any other quick ones? I just want to keep it moving.
No. It's just, I think after the Tua, my team just went to shit. I mean, I do like my next pick after Tua because I got back on. I picked Tank Bigsby, which I love.
Yeah.
And then it just went to shit after that.
Hey.
I mean, I don't like Marquez Scantling for Kansas City. I like Sam Laporta, which I picked after that. Then I picked Derek Carr just to tie him with Kamara and Olave.
Okay. I got you. Hey, hold tight, Collusion. Let's go over to Stefan. Yeah. Just mute real quick. And Stefan, you're up. Let's go. You're live. Now's your time to shine.
Oh, awesome. All right. I wanted to see what your thoughts were on this little trade that I did. I got my league up in arms about it. And, I'm the commish, but we have, like, a veto process. And
all right, hit me with it.
I'm just getting, like, a lot of chirping.
All right, hit me with it.
Okay. So I traded DeAndre Swift, Michael Thomas, and Aaron Rodgers for Lamar Jackson, Jerick McKinnon, and Lockett.
Okay, Lamar, McKinnon. and Lockett. Why are they up? Like, look, I mean, why would you be up in arms over this trade, first of all? Like, how could this be a crazy trade in their minds? Swift, MT, A-Rod for Lamar, McKinnon, Lockett. Look, I get Lamar. I'm sure they think, Lamar is the winning side, and I love McKinnon. I just think there's some knee-jerk reacting Rodgers to this JSN news is making people think Lockett's some absolute, like, magician. Like, oh, I got Lockett. Lockett to the moon. Lockett is such a good player. He's amazing. He's a top 10 wide receiver. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? How is Lockett getting this kind of love? Lamar, look, A-Rod could have a top 6 to 7 quarterback season. Swift, I could make an argument if I wanted to that this is an even-Steven trade. So if you want your league mates to call in or send them this clip, DeAndre Swift has a lot of risk, but he also has top 12 running back appeal. And A-Rod's got top 6 to 10 quarterback appeal. Top 7 to 10, let's call it. Let's call it 7 to 10. 7 to 10 quarterback appeal. Some people think Mike Thomas is revived. I don't, but some people do. How in the hell is this trade, how has this got people up in arms? There's definitely preference involved here. I'm sure there's a lot of people that lean Lamar, but this is not a crazy trade by any means. By any means, bro.
Okay, just to make sure that I get Lamar, Jarek, and Lockett.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying it's even, though. I'm saying you could argue that it's even. If someone doesn't believe in Swift, that's on them. They can say he's a bust. Maybe he does bust. But to sit here and say that Swift, MT, and A-Rod can't be better than Lamar, who's been disappointing for 3 straight years in a row, like, what is going on here? This is not a vetoable trade. This is not a trade that should have people up in arms. If you think that this trade can't be argued on both sides, that's a lazy take. Doesn't matter if you take the McKinnon, Lockett, or Lamar side. It's preference. I'm not saying that side doesn't win. I'm just saying for somebody to think that this has got a league up in arms and that there's some kind of controversy going on, grow up, pull your big boy pants up, and be okay with men trading players around in a league. Okay, you're grown men in the league, right? Everybody's paying their entry fee. And you got everybody complaining and crying in league across the league because someone made a trade. A grown man or a grown woman made a trade, and this one's very arguable. Like, this is ridiculous that this is even being talked about as a controversial trade. Lazy take.
Well,
not yours.
It's a family league, and I have 3 adults.
Lazy family.
And then the rest of the league is under 17.
Okay, so let me back off a little bit.
They're all over 12. So
all right, let me just. Are they all?
I'm joking.
Okay. Look, hey, hang on, Stefan, because
it's a work league.
No offense.
Right,
okay, it's a work league. Okay, well, your employer's employing people that aren't 18 years old. Or under 16. That's a labor violation. All right. Hey, hold on a second. Let me get.
So, Smitty, can I just say something here? So
Yeah.
I've ran a league for 30 years. This is Russian collusion.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these younger kids come in and they want to veto shit and do this. You know what I tell them? Put your big boy pants on if you want to play this league. And if you don't like something, then you know what? The guy that offered Swift, MT, and A-Rod, you offer him something better. And then you can make a decision. If you don't, then shut up.
Yeah, it's a dumb.
The majority of the people are way older than me. I'm just joking.
Okay, yeah, I know. But hey, Stefan, let me just end it here because I don't mean this in a bad way, but this is another lightweight. This is hold on, Stefan. And I want you to stay on the phone in case you have follow-up questions, and I'm not mad at you at all, but this is another waste of time. This is ridiculous that your league's even putting this show in a position where we're talking about this stupid evaluation of a very arguable trade. So your league needs to take a lap. Okay, Stefan, hang tight. Stefan, you're fine. I don't want you going anywhere. Phone line, hang tight. I got to get through these super chats real quick because these guys have been waiting. Nathan, amazing person you are, Nathan. I hope you're still in the building. Can you please let me know if you are? 7 pick in both of my friend drafts. I'm getting Bijan at 1, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown or Garrett Wilson. I answered this in the stream at the beginning of, or in the intro, but I wanted to come around and say either one of these are fantastic. Gibbs or Ridley in the 3rd round is his question. Which one? I'm gonna go Gibbs if I'm put to the test and I got to make the decision. Not to mention you're more likely to get Ridley. Even though he's a 2nd to 3rd round player on underdogs, some family leagues Ridley goes in 3 or 4, so it depends on where you're drafting. But I would take Gibbs without a hesitation. If Gibbs is gone, I'd take Ridley without hesitation. And either way, you're starting off your draft like fire. If you don't get Gibbs, I highly recommend you get Walker later, cuff him to Charbonnet. I think it's a fantastic move in a draft like that with a build like that. Michael Redman with a $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get a moonshot. Appreciate you, Michael, for dropping that. Michael, let me know if you're still in the chat as well. Let's see here. 12-team PPR Superflex with a flex. Superflex with a flex. Picking at the 1.4. Should I keep Burrow in round 2 or Waddle in round 12? You got to keep Burrow because this is Superflex, bro. Burrow goes in the top 5 or 6 overall. Top 1 to 4, you could say. And you're getting him in round 2. I don't care if Waddle's the last round write-in. You take the quarterback, and it's going to do you more favors in terms of building your team and being able to compete than even Waddle in deeper rounds. I know a lot of people that don't play Superflex don't understand that, and that's understandable. But Burrow in round 2 is a lock, bro. Absolute lock. Monster job. All other keepers, wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, J.J. Hill, those are fantastic keepers. Should I keep Burrow in round 2 or Waddle in 12? Okay, that was your only question. Michael, that was one of the easiest questions I've been asked all night. Even though it deceptively might look like, okay, the value's there for Waddle, you got to keep Burrow. You got to keep Burrow, bro. You got to. Okay, here's Red. Thank you for your super chat, by the way. I got this right here. I'm going to close that out. And if you got to follow up in a minute, I'll come back around the phone lines and appreciate you dropping that. Thank you, Michael Redman. When Dingo dropping his $5 hauler in my non-PPR league, passing TDs are 8 points and rushing passing are 8 points. Let's see. Passing TDs are 8 points and rushing and passing are 8 points too. I don't know if you meant to say receiving, but either way, it sounds like everything's 8. Should I draft Mahomes for a number 1 pick? This is a crazy scoring, and it's a tough question. It's almost a trick question in some ways because every quarterback goes up respectively, in relation to the scoring change. But at the same time, you do get a quarterback that, and if this is not a super flex, it's non-PPR, 8 points per TD pass. You do got to look at this from a different perspective and say, okay, is there a quarterback that I feel confident outscores the other quarterbacks by such an extreme margin that it makes sense for you to go ahead and make this player a number 1 or first round pick? 8 points per TD pass is a boatload. But let's say you draft Fields in round number 3, who I think is going to throw for more passing touchdowns than most people understand. They're lazy takes out there. Everybody thinks that the formula is going to be followed to a T. The Fields turns into Jalen Hurts. If Smitty's right and Fields turns into Jalen Hurts, he can only throw 22 touchdown passes. That's not the case. We could be looking at a 33 touchdown passing Justin Fields. So it mix in the running, mix in the rushing touchdowns. It doesn't mean Mahomes crushes Fields or anybody just because it's 8 points per TD pass. If you think, I would ask you this, if you think that Mahomes goes early and then there's kind of a weight in quarterback, snatching up, and you can get Fields in round number 2, I would rather take advantage of getting Bijan, Chase, or JJ or whoever and grabbing Fields or Burrow in round number 2. I would go as high as 2 or 3 for sure to get one of those top 5 quarterbacks. But I don't know that makes me go Mahomes number 1 because I honestly don't know which quarterback's going to outscore which quarterback this year. This is one year where it's like literally a blender kind of feeling where you throw the top 5 guys in, and Fields is so undervalued in formats where people think he's not throwing for big yardage. This guy could throw for 4,000 yards this year. You can laugh at that all you want. I got laughed at over and over and over last offseason when I said Hurts would be a 1-5 quarterback. Where are those people now? There have been 2 people that have ever returned to say, I was wrong, Smitty, about Jalen Hurts. Sorry about giving you such a tough time about it. 2 people have ever returned to the show to admit that they came in and blasted hate all over the place. And the same people, I almost guarantee you, are saying the same thing about Fields right now, and they're just doubling down. So thank you for your super chat. Appreciate you, Wendigo. We got Abraham dropping his $5 hauler. 3 wide receiver, PPR keeper, super flex keep. Sun God, round 3 pick, 34, or keep Dotson in the 11th. God, that's I'd probably keep Dotson in the 11th. It's a tough thing to analyze, but when you really think about it, you say, what is Dotson in the 3rd rounder compared to just St. Brown? You know, so if you're getting, let's say, a Gibbs, or you're getting a Ridley, or you're getting a Kenneth Walker, I'd rather have Dotson and Kenneth Walker than have just St. Brown, even though the keeper value for St. Brown's tempting. You got to look at it. What's the sum total of what you're going to have comparatively to the other piece? So it's really an easy process when you break it down like that, but you got to look at it from that perspective. Quick thoughts on Alexander Madison. Thank you, Dallas, for your super chat. I'm going to say Alexander Madison's a concern for me. I think he's fool's gold more than he's a breakout monster. I've always loved him. It's kind of a contradicting stance for me. At least it feels that way, because I've always been a big advocate of Madison. If he ever gets a shot, maybe it's that whole thing of like, you're sitting here waiting for it, and then it kind of wears out its welcome. And then when the time finally comes, the allure's gone, the excitement's gone, and maybe I'm missing the boat on it. I agree there's that potential there. I wouldn't say I have bias involved, but I would say I'm open-minded to the fact that maybe I'm getting off the train because I'm so tired of being on it so long, and I gave up, waiting for it or something like that. That's possible. I admit the human instinct in me to jump ship, finally after waiting so long, could be overpowering the logic. But I don't think so. I think that he's more risky at his ADP than a lot of other players that I'd rather have. I'd rather have Pacheco and McKinnon cuffed together than have just Alexander Madison. I'd rather have, obviously, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, and sometimes those guys fall to round 5. So they're not that far apart. So that's my take on that. I quite honestly would rather have JSN a round or 2 later and use this spot for something else. Maybe you need a quarterback and Burrow's still there. Burrow went in the 4th or 5th round in that other draft we just talked about. Maybe T-Law's got to be your quarterback. Maybe you're coming in and you're drafting a player like, I don't know, whatever, Pickens or something like that, and you're passing on Madison or Dotson. Dotson's going to climb up probably to Madison territory because Dotson's looking fantastic. Terry McLaurin's suffering with the turf toe. That could linger for a while. So Madison is not a player that I'm drafting right now. I'm sorry to say, if anybody's really, really into Madison, trust your gut, but I'm just feeling more so indifferent than bust. I'd say indifferent is the better word. JSN or Kincaid, from a redraft perspective, you got to go JSN. I think people are knee-jerk reacting to JSN's injury, the wrist surgery, which will keep him maybe out week 1 or 2, maybe not, but it sounds like it could, and that doesn't scare me because he's a midseason monster. He is not a guy we're counting on in week 1 anyway, even though we would love to see it, him thrive right from the beginning, right from the jump. But JSN, I love Kincaid. If this is a dynasty question, it's really even Steven, man. Because Kincaid can be the top, 1, 2, 3 tight end overall in fantasy football go forward. After this year, it'll take him some time to, I think, claim that, because Kelsey's going to sit atop that throne all year long, but we'll start seeing signs and flashes of greatness, and maybe in a year and a half he's in that seat of I'm number 2 and I'm taking the throne from Kelsey this coming season, like that kind of, in preparation mode of taking over potentially. But JSN's also, I think, the wide receiver 1 in Seattle once about week 10, 11, 12 gets into full gear. That's when I think JSN actually is better scoring wise than DK Metcalf. But I could be wrong on that. Nathan, appreciate you. Got to go. Here's some money from the Canada people. Thanks again. Nathan, I hope Nathan saw my answer. I did respond to Nathan, I believe, inside the live stream with his question anyway, so Nathan should have got my response. Nathan, if you're still here, please let me know that you saw my animated response, even though I did give you one inside the live stream at the beginning and onset of the waiver wire, or the handcuff segment. Chester dropping a $20 hauler. Hold on, phone line. I'm almost done with these super chats.
Alert. Super chat alert.
We got a $20 hauler from Chester. Chester, appreciate you. Let's see. Keeper League deadline tomorrow, 30th season. Standard League. Chester, you still here? Standard League with the rewards for longer TDs will protect Garrett Wilson, smart, and Olave, smart, but need to choose from these. Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Trevor Lawrence. I assume it's not a super flex. If it is, you would have to keep Trevor Lawrence. Standard league with rewards for long touchdowns. I'd probably say, because Hall is cheaper right now, I would try and let him fall and scoop him back up. Because Kenneth Walker's cheaper, I would again try and let him fall and scoop him back up. This is not me saying don't go get those guys. Tony Pollard is the most elusive and play-making breakaway ability player in the National Football League at the running back position. He was number 1 in the NFL last year in yards after contact, which is a big boy stat. That tells you a guy that's capable of breaking off a long touchdown run, and he's got the highest ADP. So retain Pollard, try and draft back Walker, and then Hall, because I do love that combination to throw next to Olave and Garrett Wilson. So you're in an absolutely phenomenal position, but Tony Pollard is the clear answer. Even if I love both Walker and Hall, you have a better chance of getting all three of them by going that route. Thank you so much for your $20 holler. Appreciate you. I'm getting to Michael. Michael, you still here? Michael's next. Hey, Smitty, just to confirm, keep Walker. We got the live draft in 7 minutes. Just to confirm, keep Walker at his 7th round, or Dobbins. Keep Walker. I'm not keeping Dobbins. Dobbins, I don't even want to own Dobbins, to be honest with you, bro. I don't like Dobbins at all. So let's get into the draft while I finish this. Michael, I assume Michael's still here. I got to answer Michael's question. He just dropped a $20 holler. I'm going to enter the draft room here on my phone, and we're going to pull it up and put it on screen here. Let's see here. The draft is beginning now. This is the Moon Men draft. We did the Marsmen draft already. I'm not in this draft, but I'm going to live stream it, and it's important because the winner of this draft gets moved up into the Marsmen draft. The loser goes down to the Moon Men draft next year, and so we're going to be dropping this beauty right here on you guys. Let's see here. Oh, man. Hopefully this lets me do this. Hold on. I'm going to have to restart my phone real quick. All right, let me hit this. So thank you, Sam. Michael with a $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Michael, appreciate you. Michael says the following. Smitty, trade advice. My lineup is Mahomes, Bijan, Swift, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, Ingram, Christian Watson. I have DJ Moore and Dotson on the bench. My running backs are thin. Should I offer Mahomes and Ingram for Dotson and Hurts? Yes. I would probably do that. I'd rather have Dotson than Ingram, but they're very arguable. I guess I would say who's your backup tight end? Andrews and Herbert. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There's more to this. Mahomes and Ingram for Dotson. Oh, and Dotson. I got it wrong. I'm sorry. Mahomes, Ingram, and Dotson for Hurts, Andrews, and Khalil Herbert. Yes, I would do that trade in a heartbeat. Number one, you could argue that Herbert and Dotson, obviously I'd rather have Dotson, but there's similar potential upside and value. So I think that's a great trade, bro. You get Andrews, you get an equal quarterback in Mahomes and Herbert. I don't think there's a difference there too much. I would take that. In fact, I could argue in some context in scoring that Hurts is a guy I'd rather draft. So absolutely phenomenal job. Punch that trade. Hit it right now. Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Okay. So thank you, Michael. Michael, I assume you're here and you saw that. Thank you so much for your super chat. And I've got a couple other super chats. Overcome says battle formation Marsman. Thank you, Overcome. Appreciate you. Red, I'm going to put your super chat here in a second. And Tony, put your super chat here, and I'm going to get to it in 1 second. Thank you guys for dropping those super chats. We got 8 minutes before the league starts. For some reason, this stupid phone won't show the draft board. Let me see if I can get it fixed and up and running. Hold on. Why won't it show it? Why won't it show it? Son of a B! Okay. Hold on. This one from Tony. Eckler, Olave, or Diggs and Gibbs? Eckler, Olave, Diggs, and Gibbs. I chose Eckler over Olave. I mean, in a redraft, look, bro. I mean, Eckler and Olave they're both very good, but that has more fair market value So it's not like you made a mistake there, and you might be scoring more in redraft. If it's dynasty, there's no way I'm taking the Eckler side of his dynasty. There's no way. But that's just how I feel about that. Hold on 1 second. Let me go ahead and close out of this real quickly. I'm gonna try to pull up the Marsman draft real quick and see if we can put it on screen. This is something that I had prepped and ready to go, but now it's not showing me on my phone, so I got to pull it up and put it on screen via another avenue. So let me get into the Moon Man League. Did I say Marsman? The Moon Man draft in 7 minutes. Let's go ahead and put this here real quick. I'm going to add this on screen and Chrome. Okay, here we go. Moonman draft is commencing as we speak. I'm probably only going to show the first three rounds at a time. So I'm going to put that at the top of the screen. Let me just make sure I make this all nice and neat. This is going to be an interesting draft. I probably won't have the best available picks sitting on screen. I'll probably just have it like this as we talk and take phone calls and answer super chats and react to the reach-a-thon that we're about to witness ensue. Because I don't know, maybe the Moon Men will learn from the Mars Men or not. I don't think they will, to be honest. I think everybody's going to be out for themselves, and it's going to be like a buffet of people grabbing, like we described it earlier, like a caller described it earlier, a buffet of just. And I'm not in that draft slot. I hate that it's showing my logo. This is actually salty. I just had to be commissioner of a team or be a person that was involved. So I'm going to put a name over this because this is not me. This is salty. It just shows me as a co-owner so I can be in the league to commission it. So this is not me. This is salty right here. Salty. Okay. So let's go ahead and answer these super chats. The Marsman draft commences in T-minus, I believe it's 5 minutes. So I'm going to go into the draft room there. Thank you for this question, Tony. Appreciate you. Tony dropping that super chat on screen. Thank you so much, my guy. Michael, appreciate you. Red dropping yet another super chat. Red says Lamar. He's asking for Kelsey now. Lamar and Kelsey for Mahomes and Diggs. You missed the boat already, Red. This was in front of your face. Red, are you on the line, Red? I think Red hung up. This was in front of your face, and you dragged your feet, and now you're not getting the trade done. Diggs, you're not. I don't give up Kelsey. Lamar and Kelsey for Mahomes, Diggs. It kind of changes the game, bro. I don't know. Maybe I still like lean that way, but I'm so disappointed that this other trade is not there. Hold strong and try and get him to do it. Just walk away. Say, never mind, bro. You said you wanted to do this deal. Walk away. I don't know that I do this. Kelsey and Lamar, like I like Mahomes and Diggs a lot. I don't know. Ziggy off. I don't know. What do you guys think on the phone line? Should he still do it? It's just such a disappointing thing to see this thing not go through now. Red's like, he offered me this. And maybe the guy loosely base offered it to him and it wasn't there for the taking. But man, Red had him by the balls. Red had the entire league by the balls. Now it's more of an even Steven trade. And that disappoints me. Does anybody rather have Mahomes, Diggs than Kelsey, Lamar? I mean, just in a vacuum.
This is Russian. If he was getting Mahomes and Diggs, I'd still rather have Mahomes over Lamar.
Me too.
Diggs,
Me too.
Kelsey.
It's kind of close anyway.
Kelsey's going to be better than Diggs, but
yeah,
I like Mahomes better, so that's my only issue there. But I would do what you said and say no, and then the guy's going to respond back with something else.
Yeah, man, that's so disappointing. I hope you didn't screw the pooch on that one, Red. But Red, if he just loosely offered it and he didn't you couldn't have executed it, then it's not on you. I'm just so disappointed because you were about to just annihilate him, bro. You were just going to annihilate him. He clearly got advice from somebody, which is why you don't wait on those things. You got to act and get it done because he probably asked somebody and they said, "What are you doing, bro? What are you doing?" Don't do that, Trade. All right, 2 minutes and 48 seconds and the draft commences. Thank you, Red. Red, I appreciate you. All right, let's go over to Jonathan, who's been waiting very patiently. Jonathan, you're live on the Fantasy Football Show, the Moonman Draft, which I'm not in. This is Salty. I had to be attached to his team, so I put that over there so people know this is not my team at all. Salty is drafting this in this slot. Somebody gave me a solution to take myself off of it, and I haven't looked into it yet. I still have to, but it's making me, because every time I kick out, I do a co-commissioner thing, and every time I kick out myself from the team, it takes Salty off the team, and it's got a glitch going on because I followed the instructions to a T before, and it didn't work. This draft is almost starting. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? Appreciate you for answering the call.
Yeah.
But you've been helping me out a lot with a lot of my teams, and I've been drafting a lot of the Moon Man, Mars Man. But so this weekend I just had my keeper league, which you kind of helped me out with that one. I just kind of wanted to give you the results of it and just kind of get your opinion.
Hit me as quick as you can because we're doing about 10,000 things here. I can't really write anything down at this moment, so just give me the starters. I don't need to hear the depth of the backstories. Just hit me with the starting lineup, and I'll tell you how you did. Go.
So it's a super flex league with 2 flex positions.
Okay.
So my 2 quarterbacks are Mahomes and Watson.
Okay.
Which I'm in the middle of trying to trade Watson for Fields. So I'm trying to do like a package deal.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully I get Fields.
Hell yeah.
My running backs are Eckler and ETN.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have James Cook and Madison. And
Okay.
my receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, Drake London, and Christian Watson.
Nice, bro. CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, Drake London, and Christian Watson. What were your running backs one more time?
My running backs were Eckler, ETN, and Madison and James Cook.
Yeah, that's great, man. Maybe Madison, trade him away. Like I've been advising all day long. I'm just not into Madison, bro. I think the values, like you got almost 5th round value right now. You can couple him with your bench wide receiver or one of them and get maybe Kenneth Walker. Yeah,
my tight ends are Kincaid and Higbee, and I also have Okongwu. But I was wondering, would you trade? Because I also have Smith and Jigba and Johnson from the Chargers.
Yeah.
What type of package deal could I offer Watson and something for Fields? What would you offer?
I don't know, bro. Hang tight, okay? Hang tight. This draft's starting right now. I'm starting the draft right now. Juicy's on the clock. Go ahead and go, bro. On the clock. Trade who? Who's the player? Jefferson went 1. Who's the player, bro? Kelsey?
I'm trying to get Justin Fields instead of Watson.
Yeah, I'd have to. Unfortunately, I can't look at both rosters right now. This got to be quicker questions than that. But I would say, like in general, just giving you like a baseline of what I would be looking for if I was trading. Let's say,
This guy has like no receivers. I mean, his receivers are pretty bad.
I mean, give me an idea of what you're thinking. Give me an idea, and I'll tell you whether you're off base or not. Give me the idea you've looked at his team and construct that real quick, and then I'll be right back with you, bro. Okay, so we got first off the board Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Travis Kelce. Frankly, I'm surprised that Bijan made it to 4. Kelsey, number 5 overall, is B-Men. That was, I think, my draft slot, if I remember correctly, and I took Kelsey. So we'll see what kind of team he builds. Peanut Butter and Waivers is on the clock. All right, what's your idea, bro? I went Eckler next. What's your idea? Give me a trade idea you came up with. Barkley.
I was thinking about like maybe offering like Watson and like maybe Johnson, the rookie, or like maybe even Madison.
Okay, Madison for Fields. Yeah, I mean that's a home run. I give up all 3. I give up Johnston, Madison, and Watson to upgrade to Fields any day of the week. That's what I was saying. Like go get Fields, go get Walker, go get Walker, go get Fields, go get even Breece Hall using Madison. Like you do one little move like that, that's amazing.
I have a lot of shares of Breece Hall and of Walker. This league I don't, and I also have a lot of shares of Bijan, but he got swiped right before me, so that's why I chose Eckler.
Yeah. All right, hang tight, bro. I'm gonna circle around the phone.
I don't really have a lot of Eckler shares.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah,
Do you think it's a good team overall?
Very good team, but you can always make improvements, and I think Madison is the one point that I would want to trade because he's got somewhat around 5th round value. All right. Hey, hang tight. You can stay on hold, and if you got follow-ups, you can just chime in, but just mute real quick, or if you got to go, you can call back. No problem. Got a $20 holler real quick.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay, Salty is almost on the clock. George George says, how did I do here? 10-man PPR, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. Salty's on the clock right now. What's Salty going to do? Garrett Wilson just went. The top available players, Amon-Ra, Tyreek, Kupp, Diggs, Lamb, A.J. Brown. He takes St. Brown. Blackbeard is on the clock. George, $20 hauler. Appreciate you. 10-team league, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, 1 tight end. Draft order from the 1.6 spot. You drafted from the 1.6 spot. Chase, how did Chase fall to the 6th spot? Ramondre's too early in if that's round 2. Maybe you took Olave in round 2. I don't know if you're just listing your team in a different order or something, but Chase, Ramondre, way too early if that's round 2. Gibbs in round 3 is perfect. Olave really is the 2nd rounder, and Ramondre might be your 4th. So Ridley, fantastic team. I don't think you drafted Ramondre in the 2nd round. This is a really, really good team. Swift, Gibson, Addison, Okonkwo, T-Law, love T-Law. I would try and get rid of Ramondre Stevenson, bro, in some sort of trade or upgrade. I love Swift. Part of me wonders if you could trade Monty and T-Law for a slightly better quarterback. Even though I love T-Law, I would go get a Fields, a Burrow, something like that, George. And I definitely would look to maybe trade Ramondre and maybe I'd hate for you to trade Dotson or potentially trade Monty and Ramondre maybe to a running back needy team to just upgrade Ramondre slightly. You know, if you didn't have Gibbs, I would have said Gibbs, but maybe Tony Pollard, that would be a great team. Tyreek Hill went number 10. Diggs went number 11. Tony Pollard and Gibbs back-to-back. Wow, 2.1. Gibbs went at 2.1. Pal Derby said, I'm throwing ADP to the wind. Tony Pollard, Gibbs, the reaching has begun. The reaching has commenced. Diggs and Chubb at the 11 and 13 picks. 11 and 14. Tyreek Hill and Mahomes, St. Brown and Lamb for Salty. Oren's got Garrett Wilson already, and the top players available are Kupp, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, Adams. Honestly, Kupp is a steal here, and if Oren gets Garrett Wilson and Kupp, even though Kupp does worry me, he's 30 years old, coming off, major injuries, out of ACL tear. He has 1 elite season and another really good season to his name, and everybody acts like he's been doing it for 5 straight years of being an elite wide receiver. But, I mean, in the 2nd round, it's pretty darn good value. He goes CeeDee Lamb. Or no, Amon-Ra CeeDee Lamb with Salty. So, Oren's on the clock here. A.J. Brown's fantastic. Cooper Kupp's fantastic. Derrick Henry's interesting, but I still take him a little later. I don't mean to influence any of these picks by talking about it, but hey, it is what it is. I'm here to create content, and this is a live stream event. And so we're watching it unfold live. Oren looks like he's in good position here with this pick because there's a lot of good guys left. Chiefs is up next. He's got Barkley, and then Eckler, and then Kelsey owner. We'll see what happens here. So far, there's 1 monster reach that is literally like over a whole round reach, and that's Pal Derby, who we love, but this is going to be a little bit of a roasted event, and that is certainly, higher than we've seen Gibbs go. You hate to see it, but it also is somewhat understandable in a reach fest, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to look by the time we get through round 5 or 6. Ridley was great playing with Julio, says Zach. It went A.J. Brown. It went Cooper Kupp, went to the Garrett Wilson owner, Oren. A.J. Brown went to Chiefs, the Barkley owner. These are all really solid teams so far. There's really only 1 monster reach so far, and that is Jahmyr Gibbs. And I love Tony Pollard and Gibbs, though. If he lands his wide receivers or goes robust RB with a quarterback and lands wide receivers late, I mean, he's going to have a really good team. So I have no problem with what Pal Derby's team probably will look like if he drafts smart in the 3rd and 4th round turn. But it certainly was the reach of the draft so far. Olave going to the Eckler owner, peanut butter and waivers. Awesome job. How did I do here, Tim? Team League Gibbs. I think I got that super chat out of the way. Thank you so much. Tucker dropping a $5 hauler. Traded Waddle Acres for Walker Cooper. Waddle Acres for Walker Cooper. I like that, but I would try and flip. Trying to flip for Gibbs. My team is Fields, A.J. Brown, Cooper, Amari Cooper, Bijan, Skywalker, Waller, Hopkins, then Dotson. I like the team a lot, and at the end of the day, I do like Walker, but Waddle's got like a second-round ADP. Walker's got a 4 or 5, and I don't like Cooper at all. So do I think you got the better player at the end of the day, the one that I want, the league winner? Sure. But did you overpay? Probably, Tucker, because Walker's got a 4th to 5th round ADP. And the gap closed because of Amari Cooper? I don't think so. So, if you flip Cooper and you turn Cooper into something like amazing, you flip Cooper into Ridley somehow by using a James Cook, then you smashed some total and did a trade that you wouldn't have been able to do if you didn't do the first one. So you will, at the end of the day, have crushed it, bro. Okay, so know that this isn't like at the end of the day, I hate the trade. I might love that you did that to set up the second one. So make sure you keep trying, keep trucking along, and try and get that second player using Amari Cooper. So nice work, and keep it up. Dakota Dave, you're live on the show. Hold on. Rockout says this. Hold on, Dakota. Don't make the same mistake me and some others did by draft patiently, says Rockout. Rockout did reach really hardcore, but you know what? Rockout's team's still very good, so people can say what they want about Rockout's team and that he reached for Walker. He took Walker at 2.12 in the Marsman League. It was way too early. Okay, go ahead, Dakota Dave, and then we got Avi, and then we're going to go back to Travis and Russian Collusion, and around we go. Go ahead, Dakota.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple of QB questions for you. One is, do you think Jalen Hurts might be safer than Mahomes because he's got diversified weapons? Whereas with Mahomes, if Kelsey gets hurt, then the passing attack takes a big hit.
No, because, Mahomes is proven, first of all, to assume that Kelsey's going to get hurt and not assume that A.J. Brown's going to get hurt or Devontae Smith, we're talking about, a guessing game here that's not really, there's nothing indicating. He's older, but we don't feel like this is the year that you run away from the situation, Like Derrick Henry, for example, B-Men took him at 2.8. I don't mind that because it's not like you're taking him at top 5 overall value. This package is in a lot of Derrick Henry's potential risk of dropping off or missing games. Predicting a Derrick Henry to miss games is different than predicting a Kelsey, because Kelsey, he's a different player. He does play aggressively, but he also, is in a much different situation because he's not an RB.
Well, I'm also thinking just the fact that, say, A.J. Brown gets injured, you still got Devonta Smith, you got Goddard, and you got Swift now.
Yeah, but I think you're discounting McKinnon, you're discounting Pacheco, you're discounting Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. They got a lot of weapons. Richie James. There's a lot of players that could step up and do well. And Mahomes is the kind of quarterback that's literally, they called in the Super Bowl, they called the same play that they scored the first time with Kadarius Toney. They flipped it and tried to score it again, but everybody lined up wrong, and only Mahomes knew what was going on. Everybody else ran the reverse, opposite route, and it did it completely backwards. They still scored. He threw the touchdown pass to Sky Moore. So, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not worried about it, and you're making a big assumption that Kelsey's going to get hurt, and you can't draft based on that assumption without any evidence whatsoever or any kind of, huge red flag to Kelsey. So I would say this. But at the end of the day, do I like Jalen Hurts as much as Mahomes? Yes. Especially if it's 4 points per TD pass. If it's 6, I probably lean Mahomes. If it's 4 points per TD pass, I'm gonna lean 4 points per TD pass. I'm gonna lean in the direction of Hurts. But I would say I'd rather have Fields than either one of them if I'm getting Fields in round 4. All right, hang tight.
Fields in round 4. That's what I was going to ask, was get one of the big 3 in round 3, or Burrow round 4, or Fields 4, maybe 5.
Well, based on my best 4 picks in fantasy football 2023, one of them being Burrow, one of them being Fields, I think you could probably guess my answer, Dakota. That if, you're
Oh,
getting,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know that. The only thing is, my league, it might be one of the, I think QBs could be going early, and it's sort of a bird in the hand in the third round. If you can get one of the big three, it's almost like then you don't have to worry about, being without.
Yeah, well, if you think you're going to get Fields in 3, though, take Fields in 3 versus one of the other quarterbacks a little bit earlier than that. All right, hang tight, Dakota. Put yourself on mute. If everybody go on mute real quick, that's on hold. I got to go through this draft real quick. So in it went JJ, Devontae Smith, Lamar Jackson, all paired together from that one spot. Chase, Devontae Adams, and Mark Andrews from that 2-hole. Lamar Jackson is way too early at 3.1. I don't like that pick at all, Juicy. I'm sorry, but you reached like a bandit. It's 6 points per TD pass. I need to make sure everybody knows. But at the same time, it's like Lamar Jackson there is really, really high, in my opinion, when you've got other players on the board. But that's okay. Andrews, Adams, Jamar Chase. Now, if Adams works out, overcomes, got quite a trio there. McCaffrey, Josh Allen is an excellent start by Tristan. What is he going to do with this pick? He's got 24 seconds left. Bijan and Hurts are paired together, which is a phenomenal start in a 6-point per TD league by Ada. We'll see what Ada does. Calvin Ridley, fantastic pick, very balanced. Right now, Tristan has a big advantage over everybody because in a 6-point per TD passing environment, he's got Josh Allen, and that's not too early in a 6-point per TD league. So Josh Allen, Ridley, McCaffrey, probably the most advantaged type of situation you could be in because he's balanced going into a sniping environment where any position could get wiped out by a sniping environment. This draft is very, very, very smooth compared to the Marsmen draft. Honestly, the Marsmen, we should all be ashamed of ourselves comparatively. Now, they had the advantage of watching the Marsmen draft unfold in ridiculous reaching fashion. The only reach so far, in my opinion, was the Gibbs pick, which still could prove to be great if Pal Derby lands his receivers or running backs or quarterback or whatever he decides to do at the 12th pick. Juicy took Lamar a little early, but it's understandable in a 6-point per TD league. And if you think Lamar's going to throw 35-plus touchdowns, then you got to get your guy. I get it. Let's see what Ada does here. Does he go with a balanced approach like Tristan and kind of fend off any sort of risk of reaching and a position getting eliminated early and prematurely because he's got a lot of picks to go down? Or does he go with the guy that is screaming, take me, I'm an RB, take me right now? I don't know. We'll see what Tristan does. The top available players right now are JT, Jacobs, Waddle, T. Higgins, Stevenson, Najee, DK Metcalf, ETN, Burrow, Breece Hall, and Debo Samuel, and Mixon. Those are all on the board right now. He's got 25 seconds left. Beeman is waiting with the Kelsey Henry stack, and we'll see what he does. Does he go wide receiver? Does he take a quarterback? Does he take Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow's available, and then he'd have a nice little balance in a 6-point per TD league, but then be lacking at wide receiver? It's tough to say. And Ada's about to time out with 5 seconds left, pushing his luck. 3 seconds left. There's no oopsies or redos, and he timed out on ETN. Oh, Lord, he timed out. Our first timeout. You can't time out in the Moonman draft, Ada. You can't time out. Okay, B-Man's on the clock. Oh, boy. Maybe he queued him and then let it time out. I've done that before because he's not in timeout mode or auto pick or anything. So maybe he just left it there. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's not a bad pick. It's just, it's unfortunate if you didn't get to decide. I love the Joe Burrow pick. You're going to be maybe thin at wide receiver, maybe not. We'll see what happens when it swings back around. But that is, I can't blame you for going that Burrow route in a 6-point per TD league. Henry, Kelsey, Burrow, one of the strongest teams so far. Even though Ada timed out, this is still a very strong team. Bijan, ETN, Hurts. In an environment where we saw in our draft the running backs dry up really early. So if that's the case, you might luck out and have some good wide receiver options. And this is the best team so far, in my opinion. Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, and Calvin Ridley by Tristan so far. Go ahead, Overcome. Or I'm sorry, I'm Overcome. I keep calling you different names, Collusion. I'm sorry. Collusion, go on. My mind's everywhere.
He didn't time out.
He didn't? What do you mean? Oh, he last second hit it and it. Okay.
He said in the chat, he said I queued him. I had him in queue.
Yeah, I figured that's probably what he did. Mark Cleveland says Lockett is on the block. Lockett is on the block in the Marsman League, says Mark Cleveland. Okay.
Maybe this is Russian, but what a difference in a couple nights in drafts. The only reaches I totally 100% agree with you is Gibbs and Jackson. Gibbs, yeah, if you want him, take him. Lamar Jackson, not a fan of that pick. But
yeah, but in a 6 point
overall,
per TD league,
totally
it's at least way more explainable than the other reaches in the other draft. So quite honestly, this draft has been pretty solid so far. I've got to say, no one's going crazy,
no doubt,
except for
no doubt.
look, Aloha may have done a Ricci poo, a little oopsie right there. Not that I don't want him to get his guy. I love Trevor Lawrence, but that is a little early. That is third round's a little bit early. I think if he went around 4, I'd say that might be the reach so far. Peanut Butter and Waivers getting Olave, Eckler, and Fields may have gone into second place for the most well-rounded. It's really B-Men, Peanut Butter and Waivers, and Tristan so far with very well-rounded squads. Very well-rounded squads. And I think Aloha's got a really well-rounded squad as well, but Trevor Lawrence is hard to... That's an early pick, even in a 6 point per TD league, just because, like, he's an upside guy. He's a guy we hope throws for 37, 38 touchdown passes or 35 plus. I think, assuming he's miles and leaps and bounds ahead of, like, Aaron Rodgers and those guys, even though I think he is. I mean, we love the Law Dog, but, like, in your third drafted spot, you're not leaving much room for let's say there's a hiccup or a slow start, and maybe he's 40 touchdown capable, prorated. From like week 7 on, he gets on his horse. I love him. We're going to be touting the Law Dog all season long. I love picking Law Dog. It just seems a wee bit early considering we got Waddle going next to Oren, who's got 3 straight wide receivers. He's got Kupp, Waddle, and Garrett Wilson. Phenomenal trio, but it's going to be very interesting to see what he builds on top of that. St. Brown, Lamb, St. Brown, Lamb, and who does Salty get right here? St. Brown and Lamb. Kenneth Walker.
I think what we're seeing here, Smitty, is people are being quarterback aggressive, and I think you've already said it. Phil Derby at the 12th pick has already got probably 2 of the best players in the draft.
It could work out well for him
right now, and 2 running backs and. Like you said, depending on what he does as wide receiver.
Yeah.
And in this situation, league quarterback is going to be probably a league winner.
It might be. I mean, it's 6 points per TD pass, so I could definitely argue that I love having one of those big guns, really. But Pal Derby is in a good position because the quarterbacks have scooped up, and there's been a lot of running backs that are still gone, have scooped up a lot of the draft slots between his last 2 picks. Jacobs going, that was beautiful for Pal Derby because now he can either go quarterback, which I don't think he'd do because the best quarterbacks, well, Herbert's there. If you guys love Herbert, Herbert's a great pick, but he's got wide receivers for days to choose between, and so Pal Derby maybe go. Hold
up.
Where
did you get Waddle?
What?
Where did you get Waddle?
In the 4.8, I think. Let me go over to Avi real quick. Avi, you're live.
Yo, what's up? I'm just following along with the draft. I really got nothing to say. I'm just been listening along. Justin Fields, like you said, to that guy, I feel like you can get him in the 4th round, and he could be QB 2 or 1 with Mahomes and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, in a normal environment, but not in this draft, Avi.
Not in this. Dude, this draft, you got to do in your main league with your friends.
Yeah, this is a 6 point per TD. This is 6 point per TD. Yeah. All right, hang tight, Avi. Let me come. Oh, go ahead, real quick.
I got nothing else.
Okay, hang tight real quick. Red, I'm going to come to you in a second. Let me just see Pal Derby's back-to-back picks here and see what Pal Derby does. Tony Pollard, Gibbs, and he's probably going, if I had to guess, wide receiver here. I don't think he goes tight end at all. Keenan Allen, I don't know if I like that pick. Herbert, Keenan Allen, it's an interesting stack. I think Pal Derby had an opportunity. Pal, I'm not saying you did bad, pal. But I don't know that I would take Keenan Allen. Some people love Keenan Allen in the 3rd round. I don't like Keenan Allen in the 3rd round. I probably wouldn't take Keenan Allen in the 4th round, to be honest. Like if it was me, I don't want to give away players that I would take because I don't want to influence the draft board. But there are about 2 or 3 wide receivers that I feel like would be smashes right here. Or, Herbert's okay if you would have went one of the wide receivers. Now, trust your gut, Pal Derby. I could be wrong on Keenan Allen. He could come out and drop fire, and you having that little stack could be an interesting play. And maybe Pal Derby takes this the distance, but it's a tough spot for you to be in because you had to decide what to do. I got Packers dropping a $5 tip on the board here. Packers appreciate you, my guy. Pal Derby took Herbert, Keenan Allen, Gibbs, Pollard. The 11 spot has Diggs, Chubb, Jacobs, and Watson. I love the Watson. I can say it now because they're both off the board. But I would have been tempted if I was Pal Derby to go Watson and Debo. Or London and Watson, or London and Debo. I'd have been really tempted to go that direction. But I'd love to know what Pal Derby thinks. Pal, you can even call in. Anybody on the in the Moonman draft, if you don't feel like it's too overwhelming, you can call in. Brees Hall, Walker, Lamb, and St. Brown for Salty's pretty darn good. That's pretty good. I like that a lot. I think you got a potential to have maybe some delay on Hall getting unleashed or not. I don't know. That value still feels good enough that you're not risking the biscuit.
God.
So, and let me. Yeah, hold on.
He just won the draft right there.
Hold on, Collusion.
He just won it.
What? Who did?
Salty did.
Oh.
St. Brown, CD, Walker.
I don't know, Salty. There are 4 or 5 really good. There are 4 or 5 really good teams here. I don't know. This McCaffrey from the 3 spot. McCaffrey, Allen, Ridley, Bijan, Hurts, Etienne, Kelsey, Henry, Burrow, Fields, Olave, Eckler. I would say this draft is very well rounded, but I mean I do love Walker, Hall, CeeDee Lamb, and St. Brown, but I think it's far from one at this point. But I hear you, and I like the pick. I think it's great. Let me go over real quickly to Red. Red, you're live. What else you got to? What do you got to follow up on?
It's good to pooch on this one, boys. So we went from Diggs and Mahomes to possibly getting Mahomes and Tony Pollard.
Come on, Red, spit it out. We got limited time frame here.
Tony Pollard, Patrick Mahomes for Lamar Jackson and Travis Kelce.
So Patrick Mahomes and Tony Pollard for Kelce and Lamar.
Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
I would take that Pollard side. I would take that Pollard side and run.
Yep.
I mean, that's a good trade. That's a really good trade. Take it. Is it on the table, or is this guy just messing around the whole time? I'm going to offer out.
It's on the table.
Is it on the table?
18 minutes.
Okay, then smash it. Okay, smash it, and if he takes it away, he's a takeaway Tommy. I can't stand takeaway Tommies. I can't stand them. I think takeaway Tommy should be banned from fantasy football. Just banned entirely.
And then just put Akaku as my tight end.
It's a Conquo. If you're going to start him, you gotta say a Conquo. Yeah, Conquo is
a Conquo.
Yeah, I like that. I like that trade. I like that trade a lot. Tony Pollard and Kelsey, you might waver on picking one over the other. Some might not. I mean, Kelsey's going 5, 6, 7 overall. But I like Pollard and Mahomes way more than I like Lamar and Kelsey. But look, if Lamar has a top 1 to 5 quarterback season, it could be very close. Is there a world where this guy beats you on that trade? Yeah. I mean, it's not like you blasted him like the original trade you were about to pull off. It's a shame that didn't go through because he's a takeaway Tommy. But I don't know, bro. All right, hey, I got to get back to this. Red, mute yourself real quick. And Red, if you want to follow up, that's fine. Okay. We got the draft board. Let me review real quick. After St. Brown went, thank you, Red. Appreciate you. St. Brown, Lamb, Walker, Hall. Oren's got Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp, Waddle, and Mixon. Not a fan of Mixon early on, to be honest with you. I just don't like him in round 4. Same thing with Keenan Allen. You can disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not saying these are take-a-lap picks, but certainly not picks that I would make. I don't like Keenan Allen in round 3. I don't like Mixon anywhere in round 4. Barkley, Aaron, A.J. Brown, T-Law, and Higgins. It's a crafty, interesting team. Aloha, I don't mind it at all. I don't think you punted necessarily. Higgins, you could argue in round 3, T-Law in round 4 in this format. So at the end of the day, you got value kind of that deserves to all be top 4 rounds the way that you got it. Sort of just is a little different, and that's fine. Eckler, Olave, Fields, and DJ Moore. You don't get points for stacking because this is not best ball, but it is certainly a fun approach, and I don't mind DJ Moore in round 4 at all. I think Collusion got DJ Moore in round 3 in a draft, and I said that was too early. I like DJ Moore more as a 4th drafted player, and so this is very fitting and very solid. DJ Moore, Fields, Olave, and Eckler, solid team. Top 5 or 6 team probably so far. Kelsey, Henry, Burrow, and London, that's a top 4 team right there. That's top 4. 1 to 4 right there. Bijan, Hurts, ETN, and Stevenson. Look, I don't know if I would have went that route or not. I'm looking at the wide receivers. It did seem like Stevenson was rivaling as the best pick available, to be honest, and so I'm looking at it. I don't blame him going that route. Let's see what he does at wide receiver. Certainly going to put you in a weird balance of running back heavy. Where are the wide receivers? What are they going to look like for you? I don't know. This Tristan team right here is the most balanced team yet, and equal to maybe B-Men's team and probably Peanut Butter and Waivers team. This one's going to be interesting. This pick might make or break the difference between the rest of the teams. I know Collusion likes this team a lot. Javonte Williams is interesting. It's really early, to be honest, but it's understandable given that this is going to be everybody's going to be a smidge higher than normal, and I know that people watching for the first time might say to themselves, that's early, but we are in a like-minded environment where everybody's taking everybody to perfection in their mind because we're very like-minded. So the 5th round is going to feel like the mid-4th round. The 6th round is going to feel like the 5th round. It's going to be the nature of a draft that goes in a progression that's very, very equal to your mindset. It's not a draft where you go, wow, that guy took that guy out of place. It's going to be much more along the lines of everybody's taking your guy over and over and over. So I'm not like Jonathan Taylor. Look, I've been critical on JT. He's a big risk at this point, but that could make or break and win the league right there. If JT does get traded and he is fabricating the injury, JT might actually win this league. Damian Pierce and JT as the top 2 running backs on your team after you waited until the 4th and 5th round turn is a pretty unbelievable move. I think the Lamar Jackson pick, if you would have taken Fields there, if you would have taken Fields or Burrow there instead of Lamar, it would have maybe been game over if JT's healthy and gets traded. Like that I just don't love Lamar there. If you love Lamar there, Juicy, do your thing. But that is an interesting running back room. We'll see what happens. I think there's still a lot of concern and risk. But maybe I would have taken, I don't know if I would have taken JT over Javonte here. I would have probably hoped that Javonte came back around. I think Miles Sanders and Aaron Jones, not super excited about how the running back stable turned out for this team right here. No offense, Overcome. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Aaron Jones is the potential to be a top 5 to 6, 7 running back. He really does. Miles Sanders, I just don't love Miles Sanders, but he could prove me wrong for sure. There's certainly upside and talent there. But this is an interesting JT Pierce team. This is crazy that he pulled those running backs off in the 4th and 5th round turn. This team. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, Cluj. Hold on one second. Ada is getting this Bijan, Hurts, ETN, Stevenson combination going, and now he's looking for a wide receiver, I would guess. Maybe not. Maybe he's going RB again. Maybe he's going tight end. I have no idea. Ada's keeping us on our toes. Tristan is on the clock. He's got 22 seconds left. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he goes with a wide receiver or running back or tight end here. Best players available according to the ADP rank, so I'm not rooting. Oh, he took Metcalf. That's interesting. That's a good pick. I like Metcalf. He's steady Eddie here in round number 5, to be honest. Kirk is an interesting pick by Ada. Not my favorite pick, but he's steady. He's steady. Both these guys are like not crazy sexy picks at their ADP, but they're very effective players and role players. I just don't know if Kirk is my number 1 wide receiver. I'm in love with that idea. I'd have been much more into the idea of maybe like let's see here. I don't want to say names because I don't want to throw any guys out there that are going to get taken, but it definitely took a turn a little bit for me. Not super in love with it. B-Men coming in strong. I've got to say B-Men right now might have the best team. Kelsey, Derrick Henry, Joe Burrow, Drake London might have got a running back 1 in Alvin Kamara for the amount of games he plays. Maybe not, but it certainly looked the part in his preseason debut where they fed the entire drive through Alvin Kamara, threw to him, ran him. He looked electric. He looked explosive. A guy we've been touting to draft at every turn all offseason long, despite him being, what he is as a person. We're not too fond of him as a person, but this is a business, and it's time to draft that way. And this guy is going a little early here, according to like ADP data on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, by the way. Everybody hit this link right here. I'm going to drop it in the live chat. We're drafting tonight. So if you want to draft this tonight on Underdog, hit that link right now. I'm getting to the super chats in 1 second. Hang tight, and then I'm going to go to the phone lines. But I need the phone line guys to hang tight for me, please, because I got to hit these super chats first. But Kelsey, Henry, Burrow, London, Kamara is my favorite team so far. I think Tristan's is pretty darn close with this McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Ridley, Javonte, DK. Ada was on track to be one of my favorite teams. I'm not saying it isn't still in the top 6 or 7, Ada. I just don't know how I like the way that the balance shook out. This Hawkinson pick was pretty decent. This is a crafty team. Peanut Butter and Waivers has Eckler, Olave, Fields, DJ Moore, Hawkinson. Very crafty, well-balanced team. Maybe equally balanced as Tristan's in some ways. Aloha taking Swift is a bold move for a guy that maybe, he's in need of something, a home run of some sort. And if Swift ends up being a top 10 running back somehow, some way, Aloha's in the mix. He's in the mix for sure. Garrett Wilson, I didn't like this Mixon pick. Oren's on the clock right here. But Oren, trust your guy. If you love Mixon, and many people do, I get a lot of negative comments on my Mixon take. Mixon's amazing value in the 4th round. Smitty, he deserves to be in the 3rd round. I get that all the time, so you're not alone. You're not alone. Let's see what he does here. Oren's pick is going to be critical to whether he sinks or swims here. We've got G-Money with a $20 holler. G-Money, you still in the chat? I apologize for the delay. Hang tight, callers. Hang tight.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 holler from G-Money. He says, I wasn't, random question. I was just wondering what you think about A-Rod this year. Could he put up a good season with Wilson and Hall, similar to when he had Devontae and Aaron Jones? Absolutely. Is he very undervalued this year? G-Money, are you still here, pal? Appreciate you with the question. I'm sorry for the delay. G-Money, absolutely. Absolutely. Could Aaron Rodgers be a guy that goes out and throws for freaking top 6, 7 yardage wise, throws for 34 touchdown passes and surprises everybody? 1,000% one of my sleeper quarterbacks. If I miss out on Burrow, if I miss out on Fields, and if I miss out on, let's say, T-Law, that would be probably the guy I want most. Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers combined together as my cuff situation. G-Money, 100% on board this train. I'm getting crash at this 11 spot, says Charles T, who is in this 11 hole right here. Charles, thank you for the super chat. I don't think you got crashed there. I think Diggs and Chubb were pretty solid picks, bro. I just didn't like Jacobs there, but it's understandable that you went Jacobs there. I mean, he's the leading rusher last year. I understand it. I just would have taken maybe a different player, but I don't blame you for what you did there. Christian Watson was a phenomenal pick. You're on the clock right now. There are certainly a lot of players that have upside here. I don't want to necessarily call the names out. Pacheco was a decent pick. I probably would have maybe tried to get him at the flip, but doesn't mean you made a mistake there. We'll see if you still get a guy I really like that could have fallen to you there. Let's see here. We've got the running back stable, the wide receiver room. All those rooms are going to get really thin here in a second because the talent is running out. Is kind of crazy. Dakota Dave just left the chat or the phone line. Dakota, appreciate you calling in. L just dropped a $9 hauler. All $9.99 or $10 haulers get a moonshot. Appreciate you dropping your super chat, my guy. Smitty, would you trade away Hawkinson for Pacheco and Mike Evans in a dynasty league? Probably not, because Mike Evans is getting older and Pacheco's a risky dynasty play. I like him a lot. But I think I'd probably try and get a different situation going. I like your team. Kincaid that's awesome. So you have an opportunity to trade Hawkinson away. I'd go after a Walker, a Breece Hall, a player that I feel like could be a 3rd or 2nd round capable player. I think is the way I would attack that using Hawkinson. Hawkinson's you got a lot of value in Hawkinson. I think I would definitely have tried to get more personally. But I don't blame you for wanting to go in that direction. I just think there's a better direction to maybe go in. So real quickly, this one right here, 1.09, are we doing Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, or Kupp? If it's me, I'm going Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, Diggs, Cup, or Cup Diggs, and it's only because of the 30-year-old, 2 injuries coming off. He's got the hamstring and the leg, and then also the ankle, which he had tightrope surgery in the upper part of the ankle. And so that's a crazy surgery that is very successful. Tony Pollard had it, Tannehill had it, Tua Tagovailoa had it, and it's a very successful surgery, but he is 30 years old, had an ACL tear in his past, had the tightrope surgery, then the hamstring injury. So there's a lot of concern, in my opinion, for Cooper Kupp. So that's why he ranks there. But once he gets to that territory, I don't mind Cooper Kupp because he's still got a ton of second round value. And so if he falls to like your second round pick, that's not bad at all. Thank you, Lucas, for your super chat. Would you trade Miles, Charbonnet, and Deontay Johnson for London and Burks? I would probably say I don't like Burks at all. I love London. I'd probably say in Dynasty, I'd rather have London. In redraft, I'd wonder if you could get more. But it doesn't mean I don't like where you're headed with that. I think you're getting the best player in the deal quietly, but London does have kind of like undervalued value. So I wonder if you're not getting enough, but I do like London the most. What defenses do you like this year? Dallas D, Philly D, Jets D, Niners D, Steelers D are probably, I think, some of the top teams that I would target. Mark Cleveland dropping a $10 hauler on screen. Mark Cleveland, appreciate you, my guy. Mark Cleveland, love the show. The show loves you back, Mark. I hope you're still here and you're able to hear my response. I'm sorry for the delay on this. Charles T said he's getting crashed from that 11 spot. Thank you for your super chat, Charles. And the final super chat, I think, to catch me up, Packers dropping that $5 hauler. Says, Smitty, do you trade away J.J. Komet and either Swift, Miles Sanders to receive Garrett Wilson, Saquon, and Pitts? Do I trade away J.J. Komet and either Swift or Miles Sanders? I do trade J.J. Komet and Miles Sanders. Don't trade Swift, personally, for Garrett Wilson, Saquon, and Kyle Pitts. I probably do that trade. Miles Sanders, Komet, J.J. for Garrett Wilson, Saquon, Pitts. I would take that. I would take that side. I wouldn't trade Swift, though. That's a very interesting trade. I'm sure some people are on the fence about that and want JJ that badly, but I think Garrett Wilson's close enough that you give me Saquon, and I got to do that trade. Okay, let's go over these teams. Pal Derby, Tony Pollard, Jahmyr Gibbs, Keenan Allen, Herbert, and then he went Amari Cooper, which is not, again, and look, Pal Derby, you got to do your thing. I could be wrong about in my best year, I'm going to be wrong about 30% of everything major that I talk about. So maybe Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen are the two guys I'm not giving any respect at all, and they're going to go out and blow me away and just make me look like a fool. So you trust your gut. I don't like Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper at cost this year, but I love Gibbs. I love Pollard. I love Herbert. We got Oren about to time out. Oren's on the clock. He's got Waller, Mixon, Waddle, Kupp, and Garrett Wilson. He's going to time out. This is a shame. Oh, he barely pulled it off. Cam Akers. Oh, not in. See, this is why you get a little crazy and you go position instead of best player available. No offense, Oren, but you go position hungry and you don't think necessarily about, I don't know. Maybe you went best player available in your mind, but I don't know. I feel like maybe that was a force going Waddle, Kupp, and Wilson. But then again, it's like Waddle was a great value given he's a second-round player, and you're getting him there. I understand, but part of me wonders, man, after getting Wilson and Kupp, I would look at the running back situation and say to myself, it's going to dry up, or all things equal, between Waddle and, let's say, Najee, or Walker, or JT, or whatever you consider to be that RB. That's probably where I would have went different. Then you could have come back at that next pick if you wanted to go wide receiver again and maybe get a Drake London or a DJ Moore. That's the only place I would have went different, Oren. Past that, you took some good players. Waller was a good value. If Mixon bounces back and has a much better season and has one good last hurrah, then you're going to prove me wrong and you're going to be absolutely in the mix, Warren. But everything is dependent on Mixon. And I don't know you could trust Akers to win you anything. It's all on Mixon. If Mixon balls out, you might be in the top 6, but you need Mixon to prove me wrong and make me look like a fool. Salty, St. Brown, Lamb, Walker, Hall, Pitts, and Madison. It's quite an interesting squad. I'm not a huge fan of Madison, but at that value, it starts getting interesting, right? Dotson going right before you was a brutal blow because that would have been an amazing addition for you. And Blackbeard's got Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, Najee Harris, Debo, Goddard, and Dotson. I've kind of been discrediting or overlooking, you should say, Blackbeard's draft. He's now in the mix of probably a top 3 team. Here I am ignoring Blackbeard sitting in the corner, just building a little monster team right here quietly. I like Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, Najee, Debo, Goddard, Dotson. That might be a top 4 team. Diggs, Chubb, Jacobs, Watson, Pacheco, Judy. Don't love Judy. I know in the 6th round that's great value to people because Judy goes in the 4th round sometimes, but I don't know. It's good. It's decent value. It's not a reach. It's decent value. Pacheco could be very, very good. I like that. You got a good team, Oren. It's not a bad team. Pal Derby, your team's still good. Your team is still good. I don't want you to think I don't like it. I'm just critical about a couple of things. Okay, Oren, nice beginning, and we'll see how it shakes out. Aloha, Barkley, A.J. Brown, Trevor Lawrence, T. Higgins, Swift, and Ayuk. Not a huge fan of the Ayuk pick, but they say he can't be guarded this year, even in a phone booth. He's absolutely, a crispy route runner. I get it. I just don't know that I trust Shanahan's system to make him consistent, but we'll see. Eckler, Olave, Fields, DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Pickens, Peanut Butter and Waivers, and Blackbeard. So the 1.10 pick, the Tyreek Hill Mahomes team, and Peanut Butter and Waivers, Eckler, Olave, Fields, DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Pickens. So far, my favorite 2 teams as I work this way. B-Men, Travis Kelce, Henry, Burrow, London, Kamara, Hopkins. Probably the best team. That moved into first place. That team's fire. Hopkins shouldn't have been there. For some of you down here that took other players I didn't like, Hopkins would have been the player I would have taken over here, over Cooper. I would have probably rather had Hopkins. No offense, Pal. Pal Derby's my guy. I hope Pal Derby's not taking this wrong. I would rather have Hopkins over Keenan Allen, to be honest. That's just me. Bijan Robinson, Hurts. I'm not saying I take Hopkins there. I'm just saying I would have gone a different position. I would have maybe gone, I don't know. I mean, even maybe you take a risk on JT and go Hopkins, or something later. I would have rather had JT in the Keenan Allen spot and Hopkins in the Cooper spot. Then that would have been a crazy team to me. But I'm different. Pal Derby, do you, and don't worry about me. B-Men, absolute phenomenal team. Bijan, Hurts, ETN, Stevenson, Kirk, and Ingram. Interesting squad. I like it a lot. I just don't like the wide receiver room. We'll see what you do there because you only have Kirk. That's a little bit thin. McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Ridley, Javonte, DK. What you do here is going to determine a lot. Let me go over to let's go over to Collusion. What did you want to add, Collusion? You were trying to talk a bit ago.
No, I was very salty his first 4 picks, and then, not that I don't like Fitz. I like Fitz, and I just think it's too early to pick a tight end there, and I really don't like the Madison pick. So salty, sorry.
Yeah,
you had to win and you lost it.
That's why I said hold off there, Salty. You said he won the draft, but then maybe didn't. But and again, for anybody that's saying that I said I'd rather draft Hopkins over Keenan Allen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'd rather have Hopkins over Keenan Allen and use that 3rd round pick on something else. That's what I was saying. Tristan's got 20 seconds left. Let me go over to Travis. Travis, what do you got to add? What do you have to add here?
Depending on the Tristan pick yet, I was waiting to see who he took.
9 seconds. He took J.K. Dobbins. I mean, it's not horrible value, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Up until that pick, I would say I actually like his team the best possibly.
Yeah.
It's a lot more spread out than our draft was. The margin should be a little ashamed, I do think.
Juicy went with Mike Williams and Freiermuth. Look, it's getting thin, but I still don't love those picks. Just my personal. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I missed the beginning of the show when you were talking about JSN. Did you mention when their bye week was at all? Because their bye week is at week 5. Do you think they could hold him out?
They could. There's potential for that, but I think because it's a close call for week 1, he might be back. He's going to be hungry. Yeah, I think they're going to try to get him in there in week 1 or 2. And keep in mind, we kind of thought that maybe they'd bring Walker along slowly, and they didn't really play that, super cautiously. Right. So I kind of feel like Pete's going to be like, "You want to go in there? Get in there." So I don't think Pete's worried about it. Pete's kind of a loose cannon, so I don't think he's. But they could maybe bring him along slowly if, let's say, in rehab they're worried about it, the integrity of it. So he certainly could be shut down. They could keep him on the. He could miss the first 4 weeks, be on the PUP, miss the first 4 weeks, come back after the bye week in week number 6, and then go on a tear. Doesn't change my evaluation though. I love JSN. I think he's an absolute steal, but you do have to, dodge and adjust and adapt and take him later. You can't just say, oh, Smitty loves him, I'm still going to take him high. Then you're missing the point. Not you, but anybody that's going to take him in the 5th or 6th round. You don't need to anymore. The risk is baked in for JSN. I love JSN. And we don't know if he's going to miss any time. All right, I'm only going to go down this round and maybe back, and I don't even know if I'm going to go down the other round because we got to come back for the live drafting tonight. I know the Moon Man, everybody wants to see it to conclusion, but I certainly can't stream this entire thing. We'll review it during the graveyard stream. I'll show the draft board and we'll look at it. But I'm probably going to go, because it's 2 minutes per pick. We can't go through the whole show. The timing of this, when everybody wanted to start the draft, was in the middle of the show versus the beginning. So we'll watch this all the way down. But I'm going to circle everybody off the phone line real quick. Avi, final thoughts.
Justin Fields to the moon, Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon, and Calvin Ridley to the moon. Later.
All right. Thank you. Later, Avi. Russian collusion, final thoughts.
I want you to take a look at the 6th round in this draft here and tell me if this is the norm, but I don't see much value there except for, I see, as far as value, Dodson. I see
Pickens.
Ayuk, I like a little bit, not a ton. I like Pickens, I like Hopkins, and that's all I like in that round of this draft. So what are your thoughts on that? Is that like a dead zone for...
No, it's a dead zone in our community when everything's going almost near perfectly to what your rankings are. That's all it is. These guys are, you're going to get value all over the board. Pacheco, who went super high in this draft at 5.1, will go in around like 7. So you got Pacheco sitting here around 7 waiting for you. You have Pickens in 6, 7. You have all kinds of players all over the board. Maybe Dotson does climb into the top 6 naturally in other communities. Hopkins was a value. Pickens was a value. Dotson was a value. There's still a bunch of players that I think I would consider pretty decent value in this territory once and if they go. But, everything's going to be tightened up because everybody's drafting everybody else's guy. That's the only reason.
Okay. I was just curious about that because it looked like it was I like some of the players, but some of them I would never draft. Like Kittle, I don't like. Judy, I don't like. Madison, don't like. And plus the fact that people are not looking at the fact that now you have JC out there. What team is JC going to go to? If he goes to Minnesota, you're drafting JC in the 7th or 6th round. You just lost.
You mean Madison? Yeah. All right.
Or Madison, yeah.
All right, Collusion. Call in tonight when we review the draft and draft tonight. We're drafting on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. I'm going to drop that link right now. Collusion, we'll see you tonight, pal. Later. Travis.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Collusion.
I'm going to jump too.
All right, later, Travis. See you tonight.
See you tonight. Later.
I'm going to probably wait until we go down this board here. Okay, and then once we get to the 7.12 or Pal Derby's turn picks, I might call it a night for now, but we'll come back and review the draft board. I'll put it on screen. So don't think we're not going to review this. Montgomery, pretty decent value there at 7.5, I actually might say. And there are a couple players that I'm not going to say names that I like, that I think are good values. I think people are probably looking at this board going, holy crap, it thinned out really quickly. The best team so far, I think, far and away, is B-Men's team, honestly. I'm sorry to say, guys. I know everybody wants to hear me say their team, but B-Men looks phenomenal here. Kelsey, Henry, Burrow, London, Kamara, Hopkins, Montgomery. But very close is, I don't like some of the picks as much, but like Tristan with McCaffrey, Allen, Ridley, Javonte, DK, JK, Flowers. I don't love JK, but he could be very, very good. I think Juicy, started off great and then had some picks that were good and bad. I think Lamar could end up working out. It's a 6-point per TD league. That's why the quarterbacks went early. But JT was phenomenal. Pierce was phenomenal. Not sure I like the Mike Williams and Freiermuth picks, but still a very good team. Juicy's going to be in the mix. Overcome. Don't like the running back stable a lot. A part of me wonders that in a sniping environment, if it's best to go tight end early. You know what I mean? If you're not taking Kelsey, just because you could have got like an RB or somebody that could have really helped you balance out the running game and everything. So that's probably where I would have went differently. Red, I gotta go, so make it snappy, Red. You're live.
Okay, so make it real quick. So now he's asking for
No. He's what do you mean he's asking? I thought this was on the table, Red. What are you talking about? Is this a take back Tommy move again?
He keeps adding more and more crap to it.
Bro,
now he wants Watson too.
No, bro. He's working you over. He's putting his foot in the door. One moment at a time. He's literally giving you a deal you thought you were going to get and clean up. Then he added to it. And you're literally almost going down the rabbit hole of just giving him more every time he asks for it. You need to just close the app, slam the door, and don't even respond to him. Say, you're ridiculous. You know, you talk about a trade, now you want to add people. I'm down. I'm out. You know, no way. Done. I'm not even doing it anymore. You don't add Christian Watson to a deal like that. Take back Tommy. Tell him to send you an offer or don't have a conversation with you. Because that's ridiculous to have a verbal conversation to continue to change it. That's ridiculous, bro. Yeah, just tell him I'm out later. I knew he's a take back Tommy. I knew it was a take back Tommy. I even asked you, Red. I said, "Is this a deal?" And you go, "No, this is a deal. It's on the table." And I said, "Is it on the table, or loosely based on the table?" You said on the table, Loosely. I would have sent message back saying done if it was on the table. I knew this was coming back. I could smell it from a mile away. This guy's a take back Tommy. He's trying to lure you in. And yeah, let's hit your offer sucks button, which we haven't hit in a long, long time. You sent him to this stream right now, bro, which is at 2 hours and 10 minutes into the live stream. Let me find the your offer sucks button so we can punch that, because this guy is a take back Tommy.
You are offer sucks. You are made offer sucks.
That's ridiculous. All right, hey, got to go, Red. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but make sure he sends you offers next time. This verbal conversation, verbal diarrhea with him is ridiculous. Sorry.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
Hey, sorry it didn't work out. Call me back tonight if you got a counter or something. But no, tell him absolutely no. It's ridiculous.
Hey, I'm done with this shit now, bro.
Yeah, all right. Done. All right, tell him later. All right, call him tonight. Appreciate you, Red. Poor Red. I feel bad for him. What a disaster. Deontay Johnson, McLaurin. McLaurin's, he's injured, but I understand it's an interesting pick. Elijah Moore seems early, but like understandable from Salty. Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, Najee, Debo, Goddard, Dotson, Khalil Herbert. Blackbeard might have leveled up. He's right behind Tristan for maybe the top team here. I liked Oren's a lot, but I didn't like how the running backs fell. Not his fault that happens. I didn't like how my running backs fell, Oren, and I made trades. So you can still make trades and be the best team in this league, Oren, if you make the right trades. Eckler, Fields, Olave, DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Pickens, Cook. This is probably third or fourth best team, fifth best team, somewhere in that territory. I like Aloha's a lot, just not a fan of some of the picks, but it's definitely got potential. Blackbeard is in second or third place behind B-Men. And Sir Charles has a pretty good squad, but, there are some picks I don't love, but there's some picks that I do love. Pal Derby's on the clock with back-to-backs. At the end of the day, Pal Derby's got a really well-rounded team. And if Pal Derby has Cooper and Allen, Cooper, Allen, Lockett, Jackson. I like the Jackson Smith and Jigba pick because I think he could become your number one wide receiver, to be honest. But, that's a really... And you cuff the two together in a way that kind of is crafty. I don't know, Pal. You need Cooper and Allen to step up. If Cooper and Allen outperform my expectations, you're in the mix, pal. Okay, but you need that to happen, I think. But you're definitely not last place. I'll tell you right now, that team's not last place. With Pollard and Gibbs and Herbert, there's no way you're getting last place. And I'm not saying anybody's fighting for last. If you're not first, you're last. But the last place finisher here, nothing happens to him. You don't get kicked out of the league, but you don't want to be last place. Charbonnet. Oh, Salty got sniped on Charbonnet. Salty, you got a little... Look, Salty, you should have taken Charbonnet right here. I mean, is Elijah Moore a must for you? I would have taken Charbonnet and then let this pick fall to you. That is brutal. I'd rather have Charbonnet and Aaron Rodgers than Elijah Moore and I mean, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I think he just pushed his luck. Blackbeard coming in with a massive, massive move. Maybe you guys can make a trade. I don't know. That hit hard. I'm sorry, Salty. Man. I'll see you all tonight. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. Here's the link if you guys want to. I'm going to pin the link real quick if you guys... Actually, I'm not going to pin the link. I'll just post it. Posted the link. You guys want to draft with me tonight. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. So get on over to Underdog Fantasy using the link. I'll drop the link one more time. It's in the description of every video. Draft with me tonight. Draft with us tonight. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. Hit the link. Download the app now. Get it all set up and sorted out. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. You'll be ready to rumble. So when we go live tonight, I'll say open up the app that the link helped you download and open it up. And we're going to click on this one. Click it now together. That's how it's going to roll and work. See you all tonight. Golf says check your super chats. Maybe I had a super chat that I didn't see. I'm sorry, bro. Let's see here. Golf. Money Mitch and Golf dropping 2 wads on screen. I apologize for the delay. Money Mitch, $5 hauler. Andrews for London. No, London is going so much later. Andrews is in the 3rd or 4th round. London's in the 4th or 5th. You can't do that. You got to get more. I've declined, but he's making it seem like it's even. 3 wide receiver, 2 flexes, not even. Andrews is a much higher value guy. So Money Mitch, you got to get a lot more than that. Even like adding a player. No. I mean, no. He's got to make it a better deal by far. On Underdog, new league called the Elimination. We'll get into that tonight potentially and go over that. Definitely, Golf. Appreciate you. And you're correct, okay? You're correct, and we're going to get into that tonight. I'll explain it all tonight. I didn't really want to get into it right now. But yeah, 17 weeks of advancements, 1 champion. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's a $50 entry, though. Maybe we do that tonight. I know not everybody wants to get into a $50 tournament, but maybe we do it tonight. But the Eliminator is crazy. It's awesome. There's a lot of things potentially, Underdog's always looking to do. And I believe they're working on the season-long pick'em, so hang tight for that. New league called the Eliminator. We're maybe doing it tonight. Golf, appreciate your super chat. Rock Out says, way better draft than the Marsmen. Good job. They had the advantage of watching a lot of our guys reach too much, but it is definitely a better draft. Kincaid was a nice sneaky pick. This is a nice sneaky team. I'd say this is like 2nd, 3rd, or 4th place. I think it's really comes down to Tristan's team, comes down to Blackbeard's team, and probably Peanut Butter and Waivers are my favorite team, and B-Men's team. Oh, no, did I say B-Men's was the best? Yeah, B-Men's is the best. Then probably Blackbeard. Then maybe Peanut Butter and Waivers. I like this team a lot. And then Tristan's team. Those are probably my top 4 or 5 teams in order. See you all tonight. Underdog Fantasy. I'll drop the link one more time. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Money Mitch, appreciate you dropping that super chat. Rock Out, thank you for your super chat. Golf, appreciate your super chat. See you all tonight. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Click the link. Go. See you all tonight. We're drafting live. Hit that link. Don't be late.